Does it start before that?
Or is that what I got?
Oh, okay. So I looked at the box score. They said that game took 2 hours and a minute. That's Todd Callis.
I've got the 26th and 27th out. You'd have to piece together if you can't find anything. I'm guessing that's TV that I had right there.
All right.
AJC, Paul, morning. Kilos. Morning, Coffin Baugh. How is everybody? Everybody fall victim to an April Fool's joke yesterday? Wasn't that South Florida FAU tweet? Wasn't that an April Fool's joke?
All right, here we go.
3.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this first Tuesday of April. Hope your week got off to a good start and you didn't fall victim to one of them damn jokes. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Good morning. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm very curious as to the feedback that we are going to get today, because I think people sampled a product last night that they don't normally sample, and or they sampled it for a much longer period of time than they normally sample it. And so to me, this is kind of like not necessarily forced, but you decided to go to an event and they served an entree that normally you go, I don't normally like this, but let me give it another shot. And I'm just curious as to whether, people like the, I don't know, chicken, veal.
No.
No?
The fish.
Fish?
They ordered the fish. I mean, let's be brutally honest here. You get
Okay.
the steak, you get the chicken, you're okay with it. You get the fish, you're going out there on a limb going, man, is this going to be good or is this going to be...
Gotcha.
They're making it mass here. I'm a little nervous.
Right.
And women's basketball is certainly not a steak or a chicken option. It's not a main option, if you know what I'm saying.
No, it's the catch of the day.
It really is.
Okay. So in that sense, I am very curious. 21,000, our text line. And if you sample the show on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, first off, you get to see us. Hello.
Woo!
And the Twitch chat room. We see your comments right away. So, woke up to a few posts on X, right? That's how we're going. We've renamed the restaurant from tweets to post on X.
Yes, David. Good job. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, you know, Paula in Detroit. By the way, Paula, hope you're feeling better. We know you've gone through some stuff recently. I watched the whole game. It was a refreshing mix of old school basketball and three-pointers. Okay. Wolfgang. Don't know Wolfgang's name unless it's Puck. Please do not tell us in the morning that Clark is amazing. She took 56 shots, including free throws, to score 41, and zero defense was played on either side. It was a WNBA All-Star game. Well, actually, she took 29 shots from the field and 6 from the free throw line, so 35 instead of 56. Close.
Not that,
But-
no, really not that close.
No, not.
Not even.
I'm being sarcastic.
I know you are,
So-
but sometimes people don't get that this early in the morning.
Right.
I'm making sure he understands that it wasn't close.
So that was his thoughts, and he sent the post, within a half an hour of the game ending. So yeah, okay, all right. He sampled it though, he sampled the fish, and he went, I'm not going back. Sorry, And meanwhile, someone sitting at the table said, "Really, you didn't like it? I thought it was delicious." Huh? Nah, wasn't for me. Okay. So, that's what I woke up to this morning. It's by the way, I do not advise you waking up and the first thing you do is you go to X. There are much better ways to wake up. And I mean like walking into a piece of furniture with your big toe and banging it and yelling, "Ow," can be better than waking up to posts on X.
How many steps does it take you after you get out of bed till you feel like a human? Because
Well,
the one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older, the first few shuffles aren't nearly as good as they used to be.
You feel like you're playing shuffleboard?
Either that or I'm doing the Super Bowl shuffle. I'm not sure exactly what it is in the morning, but there is a shuffle that happens before steps, and I don't like it.
Trent, have you seen the Bears Super Bowl shuffle in '85?
Of course.
Okay, well, hey, I don't know. I mean, come on now. That was a while ago. You're
No, I know,
24.
David, it's iconic.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not Rocky IV, but
What is?
what is exactly? So, all right, do Stallone. Do it. The scene in the ring at the end. Do it. Rocky IV, go.
You put me on the spot.
Yes, I am, and you gotta deliver.
And if eyes can do it, and
Eyes could change.
if eyes can change, and then we all can change.
There you go.
Right in the heart's
Iconic.
on fire.
Iconic. All right. Kind of
What are
like
we
how
waiting for?
exactly. Kind of like how the Godfathers ended. Iconic. Yes. So, all right. So there you go. What we end up with in terms of if you're watching or not. Last time I looked, it was a decent number of respondents, and it was around 71% was going to watch.
That's about where we ended up, David. We ended up at
Okay.
just over 70%. Big,
All right.
big vote for us. A lot of people cast a vote on X, and we had a little over 70% saying they were going to watch the game.
Okay. So, I'm curious as to what people thought. Did they go, nah, I wish I had those 2 hours back. Yeah, it's okay. Or if they were like, wow, you know what? You guys were right. The product's better than the last time I sampled it.
I got a text after the first half from a buddy that said that was the best half of basketball I've watched in a while.
45 all at the half.
First half was tremendous.
Yeah, they were shooting it well, both over 50%.
Right.
And they both went on their own runs too. It's not like it was just bucket for bucket. I mean, it was entertaining.
So, there you go. I mean, interesting decision. If you're leading your sportscast, do you lead with LSU Iowa, or there was a no-hitter in Major League Baseball last night?
Yeah, you lead with LSU Iowa.
Okay. All right. No need to treat me with such disdain so early in the morning. I mean, It is a no-no, 8 days, 10 days, whatever we are into the damn season, not even. Guy making his 8th career start, 30-year-old journeyman, throwing a no-no.
And that's great. Who was it again? A 30-year-old journeyman?
Right.
Right, the journeyman.
Well, hey, it's Ronel Blanco.
Oh, Blanco.
Blanco, you know Blanco.
That guy owes me money.
So funny you say that. That movie was on yesterday. Miller and Moulton. So, I'm just curious what people thought of the product. And that includes the broadcast also. I will say this, and this is something that has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. And it goes all ways. Like if you, and obviously, I mean, that's ESPN's A team. And to me, I just thought I was listening to two people at the bar. I mean, at no point in time could we talk a little strategy? Could you tell me about, hey, we got to slow Caitlin Clark down. Shouldn't we do something different here? How about put a different defender on her? How about make her go right? How about a box and one? I mean, nothing. None of that talk at all while she and they are taking over the game in the third quarter. That, to me, that's something that you get. You get a lot more strategy in a men's broadcast. You do. That is not a sexist statement. That is a matter of fact. For whatever reason, and I don't know why.
And it drives you nuts, doesn't it?
It does. Because, see, to me, also, if I'm the sport, I want to be treated exactly like the most popular sport. And that includes on the field and off the field. And I know a lot of times they can't handle it. They don't like it. They don't like criticism. Hey, sorry, it comes with the territory. You want to be in that real estate? You want to be in that neighborhood? You got to take what comes with that neighborhood. But that's what, to me was missing last night. There were other things. I thought there were times that Iowa was tired. She didn't call any of her timeouts to the final 2 minutes of the game. You can call a timeout because your team's tired. They need a breather here. I'll call a timeout here in a couple minutes. We'll get to the media timeout. We'll be good. Just things like that.
Now, I didn't listen to I did something last night, David, that I would have lost a lot of money to myself in a bet. If 5 years ago, I would have bet myself that you would spend Monday night at your daughter's gymnastics practice watching a women's basketball game on your phone.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I mean, a lot of money.
You wouldn't have had cab fare to get home.
No. And so I didn't listen to the first half. I watched the first half. I don't know how much they made of Reese's injury because she was hobbling around out there. She had she had 6 boards and 6 points in the first 3-4 minutes. She bangs her ankle up there.
Right.
And she was hobbling. Now, I don't know how much they made of it. I don't know how much they got into it because I wasn't listening. And I don't need to listen to watch a basketball game.
Mentioned it coming last time they mentioned it was coming out of the break at the half. Holly Rowe did a report and, they had a close-up shot of she had a different shoe on.
And it was a pretty quick process. Like she went to the bench, sat there for a minute, then went to the bike. So
right.
It was, I think they did bring that up too. That
yeah.
Mentioned she's not going to the tunnel. She's going to the bike.
But obviously a well-played first half. Both teams shoot over 50%. It's 45 apiece. Had very good pace to it. Both teams made runs. I thought the first half product was really good. Third quarter starts. They're doing the exact same thing for a couple minutes, and then LSU faltered. LSU went through a stretch, and they didn't really address it till the very end of the stretch. I think at one point they missed 13 out of 14 shots, and they missed something like, 22 out of 25. I mean, they had a really rough rest of the third quarter offensively. And by then they're down 11.
And I'm with you at that point because they finally, I think when they made a bucket and they got the ball to Reese, it's like, hey, if the ball goes to Reese, good things happen. Where was that for the
Right. Yeah.
coming
Exactly.
up? Hey, you've got to get the ball in Reese's hands here. She's got to touch the ball every time down the court. They've missed X number of shots in a row.
Right.
That's where your strategy comes in.
Right.
Miller and Moulton, the starting five, 25 minutes away. Thanks so much for listening. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient. I haven't talked to him about it specifically, but my guess is it has to do with USC going to the Big Ten. And I do know there are coaches in the quote Pac-12 who are headed to the Big Ten who are concerned about whether or not it's going to work for them. And remember, SMU is going into the ACC next year, and it's Dallas, which, I don't think is as nice as Manhattan Beach, but it's a hell of a lot lower taxes. So, Cape Go, you think it was like watching a bad Harlem Globetrotters? Okay. Wow, I'll tell you what, I love such variance in opinions as to that product last night.
Kilos, go Tigers. The Detroit Tigers.
How about them Detroit Tigers? I don't know if they're going to play the next 2 days.
Yeah, that's what they're saying on the broadcast last night.
Just hand them the division.
Boy, that'll be good. They'll have to find an off day. They'll have to come back to New York, and they'll have to play a doubleheader.
I know it's early, but the Mets aren't this bad, are they?
I don't know. Might be. I will say, if they're going to swing the bats like this. But it's baseball. There are teams that have started the year, 11-0, 12-0, missed the playoffs. Last time the Mets started like this, they had a winning record. So,
Oh yeah, I mean it's 162.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. David Samson to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will visit us later today as well. It is the first Tuesday of April. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So it's up to you if we want to go to the, question of the day. Twice in a row, whether or not we now want to get people's reaction to the product last night or whether or not we want to move on to something else. So,
I'm curious. I'm curious of people's reaction because it seems that people, just based on the Twitch chat room, some text, some posts on X, that people watched. And they have varying opinions about what they watched last night.
Yes. Comment in the Twitch chat room. It was like a bad Harlem Globetrotters game. Oh, okay. Others that were like, wow, I really enjoyed this, that's, to me, that's kind of like, you guys watch Idol? My wife still does.
I never got into it.
There was a season or two that I had watched.
Okay. And to me, that's like, you're sitting there, or say you're out at a club, or, it's karaoke, and then you're sitting there with your wife and what have you. And then one of you thinks, wow, she's really good. And the other goes, really? Is really? I thought ... We seem to be getting, that. Instead of a table for two, though, it's, I would like to think, our listenership is at least a table of four. I mean, I don't know if we're moving tables together in the middle of the restaurant or anything. And all
we
of a
better
sudden,
be.
Well, I hope
want a
so.
scene. I want 4 or 5 tables pushed together.
Right. All of a sudden, it's 14 people, 2 on the ends, and 6 on each side. Got it. Okay.
This is like a place I had lunch in Savannah, Georgia, where you just sit with strangers. Mrs. Wilkes' kitchen, and you had about 14 people at the table. No one knows one another. That's how I feel like this is a lot of times. We kind of know you, but for the most part, we don't.
Boy, I would be fine with that. My wife would want no part of that. She'd be like, no, get it to go.
Really?
Yeah. Especially nowadays. There was a time
The
that time
minister's
is not
daughter
now.
doesn't want to break bread with others. Huh.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know.
I'm completely
Yeah.
miffed by this whole direction of the statement, and I'd rather talk women's college basketball.
Okay. I just think right now
I like your wife. That bothers me.
Well, I just think it's a temporary thing. I mean, it's just not in a great place right now. I'm just saying now. All right, that's not her cup of tea now. There was a time in which she would have thought, "Oh, wow, this is neat." Hey, how are you? What's your name? Where are you from? And now it's not that time. Just say we all go through. I think we all go through phases like that. I mean, that's a fair statement, right?
Well, usually you and I are stuck in the phase of we don't want to see other people.
Well, we're a little hesitant. I mean, we've had a few too many, angry texts and tweets and now posts in our life. So, usually we're a little hesitant.
But for you, this is right up your alley. It's out of your area code.
Right. Oh, no. Outside the 239 or now the 904, although, Mark, I have two friends here. So I would be all for it. I would do anything to meet people now. I mean, in fact, I want to show up at a restaurant and start working it like I'm running for office. Hi, how are you? My name's David. Okay. Who are you? I mean, I'm just going to just show up at random restaurants at lunchtime just to meet people. I mean, today I'm going to hit Jersey Mike's.
Sit down at a table with someone. Sit down with a stranger. Mind if I sit here?
Is that the old George Carlin at a movie theater?
Yes.
When it's not very crowded and you go sit next to somebody and go, oh, I've been waiting for this movie for a long time. How about you? That's when you wish there was a hidden camera. So just getting your feedback today. What'd you think of the product? Because we're guessing a lot of you watch, you don't normally watch. What'd you think of the product? We're not going to try to influence you.
And was it good enough for you to watch again?
Yeah. We're like, wow, it's better than the last time I saw. Or appreciate the effort, guys, but I'm not doing that again. Okay. Fair enough.
$21,000 is the text line. As David has mentioned, you can always join us, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, and get right into the Twitch chat room.
Gator Dad Nestero said, I watched 3 quarters of women's basketball for the first time ever last night and really enjoyed it. Huh. Okay. Steve gives it a 10. Interesting. Wow.
Because I don't even get the first half, I give a 10.
Yes. I thought the first half was very high level. And then mid-third quarter, it faltered. And Iowa's level stayed better than LSU's. And then I thought both teams just kind of bumbled to the finish line. But I will say at least they played with tempo. They played with pace. This wasn't Duke Houston 54-51.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Because whether it was Duke Houston, whether it was the first half of Duke NC State, the first half of UConn and Illinois, highest level college men's product that they can offer us, didn't give us a lot. And I'm curious where you put last night's game in comparison to some of the things that we watched over the weekend in the men's tournament.
Iowa shot 46% for the game, which is, decent. It's not great. It's pretty average, actually, for, the better teams. And LSU struggled 39%. I wanted more replays also. Like there's a lot of contact. And I didn't think we saw a lot of it. Particularly, the LSU players were driving to the basket and they were clearly arguing that they were getting fouled. would have been nice to see more replays to see if, in fact, they were getting fouled or whether or not they're just complaining.
And I do think, the couple comments about the announcers that I do agree with. I thought that there was a little fanboy-esque of the announcers last night going giddy for Caitlin Clark nonstop. It's like we pre-recorded what we were going to say when she made a long three. Have you not watched her play? She makes long threes in every game. They're incredible. Some of the step-back shots she makes, but
yeah, I mean, I find her style very similar to Trae Young in terms of, once she gets to about 35 feet, she thinks, I could jack it from here. And that in college and also the NBA, that was Trae Young. It was like, wow, his range is a little further than most here. And when they go in, obviously it's awesome. And when they don't, it's kind of like, there's still 18 seconds left on the shot clock here. Are you sure we could have done better than that?
did get a text this morning that says, I bet my first women's game last night. Time to call the number.
We had a rough night. We took the points in both games. The favorites won. Come to think of it, what were we doing? It's women's college basketball. There's hardly any upsets.
Well, that's why in the second game I took the 1 seed getting the points, because 1 seeds typically win.
Right. So what do we have? 2 1s and 2 3s in the women's Final Four. We got 2 1s, a 4, and an 11 in the men's. So there. So 21,000 is the text line. Your thoughts. We'll have a poll question at some point. We'll figure it out. It was an interesting day and night in sports, having nothing to do with Caitlin Clark and the women's Final Four. We'll tell you all about it next in the starting five. And then David Samson, 30 minutes from now on Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So 41's a speed trap, huh, Kilos? Wow, that is a lot. So what are we thinking for a poll question?
What grade would you give last night's game? A, B, C, D?
I think we need to have a question, and one of the answers is didn't watch. Yeah, Rebecca Lobo. That funny. So, good luck finding something to do in Albany.
When did that come out?
Late in the game, I think. Something about Albany, and then she said, "Yeah, good luck finding something to do in Albany."
I don't, Sonny. Because if it would have stayed tight, then it had a chance to peak. But I think because the game got a little out of hand, I don't think.
Well, not only that, it came from someone who spent their college in Storrs, Connecticut 30 years ago. I mean, talk about nothing to do.
So what do you want the question to be?
What'd you think of the Iowa LSU game last night? A, really enjoyed it. B, okay. It was okay. C, never again. D, didn't watch. Or as Spitz says, did you enjoy the game? Yes, no, didn't watch. One or the other.
I like the what did you really enjoyed it? What would you say? What were your choices there?
Really enjoyed it. It was okay. Never again. Didn't watch.
I like it.
Tell you what, though, Kilos, I mean, he's like, Trent's going to be in a bad spot today. He's got Caitlin scoring 41. He's got a no-hitter. There's at least one walk-off in baseball. Still got a few undefeated teams. I mean, he's going to disappoint people today.
You can't please them all.
It's another lesson. You seem like a pleaser, Trent. Okay, that's you get into this industry, tough to be a pleaser.
Oh, that's sound advice right there.
That's going in the book of Miller and Moulton.
Hey, listen, that also applies to people at the highest level of networks too. Joe Buck wrote in his book, I mean, Joe's a pleaser. And Joe had to learn to deal with the grief. And at some point realized, you can only do what you can do.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before David Samson joins us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of hour 3 of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. All right. Are we going to the well twice in a row?
We are.
Okay. So
we are going to the well, David.
All right. Lay it on me. What's the question?
Very simple. Just what did you think of the Iowa LSU game last night? Really enjoyed it. It was okay. Never again, and didn't watch.
All right. At Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Hell, Trent he'll put it on his site. Trent, how many people you got following you now? 17, 19? What are you up to?
510.
You do know he's going to end up more than us, right, Mark? You know that's I mean, we can only make fun of him and how many followers he has because you know he's going to end up with more than the both of us.
He's going to end up being way more popular than the two of us combined.
Right.
He's just starting at this thing. I
Exactly.
expect big things out of Trent.
Pressure's on. Got to get to thousands and thousands of followers by the time I'm 25. Otherwise, I didn't live up to my hype.
Really? That's how we're judging ourselves now?
Well, I guess.
Because if that's the case, it's over for Miller and Moulton. All right. I think I've got 3,000. Although I don't help myself. Like, I'm only following like 100 people.
Yeah, you're not following me, I don't think.
No, I'm not.
Oh, no.
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 I'm
I'm surprised he follows me.
and Mark may have been the first person I followed, and that's only because I didn't set up my then Twitter. Okay.
That's true.
So when the phone was handed to me, I was told what my handle was, and it was like, oh, I'm already following 2 people. And that was the person that set it up and my co-host. Huh. Okay. Besides, the God account on X is following one person, right?
It doesn't post anymore. That thing kind of went away, but the guy was only following Justin Bieber, I believe.
Right. 20 minutes before the hour. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
All right. Elite 8 on the women's side. All the hype. And for a half, it lived up to it. Iowa, LSU were tied at 45 at the half. Both teams shooting well over 50%. Then LSU had a rough third quarter and never recovered. Iowa gets revenge for the national title game a year ago. Angel Reese, 17 points, 20 rebounds. I will say there was a controversial, I thought, blown call. Minute 45 to go in the game. She drives to the basket, scores, and a foul, and they call her for the offensive foul, and she fouls out. And if they go the other way, they cut it to 7 with a minute 45 to go, and they had just forced a turnover with the press. So I thought once they called that on Reese and LSU, the game was over. She has 17 points, 20 rebounds. Caitlin Clark, 9 threes, 41 points, 12 assists. Iowa, 94-87. They advance to the Final Four. Second year in a row where they will face UConn. The 23rd time Gino and the crew have advanced to the Final Four. Paige Beckers, who missed all of last year with injury, 28 points, 10 rebounds. Game was tied at the half. UConn pulled away slowly to beat USC 80-73. So you got South Carolina and Iowa, the 1 seeds, NC State and UConn, 3 seeds in the women's Final Four. South Carolina, NC State, Iowa, UConn, Friday, Sunday in Cleveland. Big news in women's hoops yesterday. Tennessee fired Kelly Harper. We had her on the show earlier in the year. They got beat in the second round by NC State. And Mark, I wonder, remember late in the SEC tournament, in the semis, they had South Carolina beat. Inbounds play, they let the center, who had made 1 3-pointer all year, they left her wide open, literally did not guard her, and said, you want to shoot this, shoot it. And she shot the 3 and banked it in at the buzzer for the win. And I wonder if she misses that shot, if Kelly Harper is still the coach at Tennessee. Lots of rumors that Carol Lawson, the current coach at Duke, but a former Lady Vol standout, is going to replace her. On the men's side, Andy Enfield officially left USC for SMU. That's going from the Pac-12 to the American. Oh, no, wait, from the Big Ten to the ACC. Ben McCollum who was a Division II legend at Northwest Missouri State, won multiple national championships. He's a new head coach at Drake. That's a fascinating hire. I'm all for it. And Oklahoma State named Western Kentucky head coach Steve Lutz as their new head coach. Last 3 years, he's taken teams to the tournament.
How many people said no to the Oklahoma State job before Lutz said yes?
Well, they were about ready to ask one of the three of us, apparently. They were a little far down the list. Yes.
You got to root for this guy now. I mean, just because everybody said no to this job.
Well, it's like the lines that are at press conferences. You know, Wooden was the fourth choice at UCLA. And, you know, there have been many guys who were not the top choice who have gone on to terrific things. I mean, is it the new guy at FAU who last week started the presser? Okay, in which he said, hey, I was my wife's third choice. Don't worry about it. Okay, it'll be fine. FAU, by the way, 3 starters in the portal. 2 of them have said, I may still come back. I think they're just trying to see how much money is available in free agency. That's all. That's the world we live in these days. NBA, Magic nearly blew a 10-point lead after 3 quarters at home to Portland. But they held off the Blazers 104-103. They were a half a game behind the Knicks for the 4 seed, and that would be home court in the first round of the playoffs. Boston won their 59th game. They beat Charlotte by 14. The Pistons lost their 62nd game. Sorry, Trent. Blew a 15-point lead, lost to Memphis 110-108. Indiana is a full game ahead of Miami now for the 6th seed. That avoids the play-in. Indiana beat Brooklyn by 22. And in a 9-10 play-in preview, Atlanta beat Chicago 113-101. By the way, Phoenix went into Narlands and took care of the Pelicans by 13. It wasn't that close. They led by 20 at the half. Devin Booker with 52. Thank you very much. NHL. Something's going on with the Panthers. They're not playing well. They went on the road to Toronto last night. Good team, but they were down 4-1 after 2. Rallied, lost 5-3. Austin Matthews with 2 goals. He's got 62 now on the season. Panthers now officially 2 points behind the Bruins, and they played the same number of games. And right now, the Panthers would play the Leafs in the first round of the playoffs. Lightning saw their 8-0-1 streak snapped at home by your Wings, Mark and Trent.
Big win for the Detroit Red Wings last night.
Tie game with 3 minutes to go. The Wings break the tie and then get an empty netter. Tampa Bay now 6 points behind the Leafs. Now likely will be the first wild card in the East, which means they would play Boston if the season ended today. The Rangers game in hand on both the Bruins and the Canes. They blew it. Crosby with 2 goals in New York. Pittsburgh 5-2. He's got 37. He may score 40 goals at age 36. Islanders beat Philly in overtime. Flyers, however, tied the game with 10 seconds left to get a valuable point. They're now a point ahead of both Washington and Detroit in a battle to make the playoffs. Those 3 teams for 2 spots. Islanders with the win are 3 points behind the Caps and the Wings. Baseball, Rays and Marlins both lost at home. Texas jumped on Tampa early in a 9-3 win. Meanwhile, Mike Trout 2 homers in Miami. Angels 7-4 over the Marlins. The Tigers are 4-0, and the Mets are 0-4. Detroit, who was no hit into the 6th, won 5-0 in 10. The Braves shut out the White Sox 9-0. The White Sox are 0-4. And the Pirates are 5-0. Break them up. 8-4 over the Nats. The Yankees are 5-0. Break them up. Best start since 92. They beat Arizona 5-2. And Mark, the Astros got their first win, but that's just part of the story. Ronel Blanco, a 30-year-old journeyman. Hell, he didn't make the majors till he was 28 years old. He made his 8th career start last night. The only reason he's starting is Verlander and another guy are on the injured list to start the year. Yeah, he threw 106 pitches and didn't give up a hit. That's a no-no in his first start of the year. 2 walks, 7 strikeouts for the Astros. How about that? That's cool. Also, apparently, and I've looked it up twice, I've seen it both places, time of the game, 2 hours, 1 minute.
He was the last guy to make the roster for the Houston Astros.
I mean, think about that. Listen, you know, 1-2 starts maybe, and then the other guys are coming back. You know, do the best. If you 5 innings, 60, 70 pitches, do the best you can. Okay, boss. Got it. Jordan Westberg, a walk-off, 2-run shot for the 3-1 Orioles as they beat the Royals 6-4. Cubbies a winner last night, or yesterday, I should say, 5-0 over the Rockies. Reds 6-3-10 over the Phillies. Red Sox 9-0 over the A's, who made like 5 errors and had 4 hits before 6,600 in Oakland. Oh, man, that's going to be a long year. Cardinals 6-2 over the Padres. Dodgers 8-3 over the Giants. NFL news, tragic story, and they're not telling us, you know, specifics, except that 35-year-old former Dolphin and Colt Vontae Davis was found dead in his South Florida home yesterday. Foul play is not suspected. Some Chiefs news. On the field, they signed Carson Wentz last night. He's going to back up Mahomes. Okay, 1-year deal. And off the field, Dallas authorities say that wide receiver Rashee Rice is cooperating. He's being investigated as being part of a racing incident which caused a multi-car crash on the Dallas highways Saturday night. Numerous injuries. I don't believe anybody died.
No.
Rice and his car were fingered by many people, and so he is having to answer for that right now. Remember, the NFL can step in and they can do their own punishment. You know, the authorities don't have to punish you. The NFL can do what they want. And one other note, Warren Sapp is now an official grad assistant with Deion Sanders in Colorado. He's going back to school. I don't know if he's working on a master's or what, but Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, a Kane and a Knoll getting together in Boulder. They both met the team and dealt with the media yesterday. Needless to say, that was entertaining. How'd you guys meet? We met trash talking each other. Oh, okay, cool. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Listen, I know that he's done some things and he's quote unquote not a good dude. I get that. But I have always thought that Warren Sapp, especially now with the formats that are out there, Mark, like Warren Sapp on a bar stool type broadcast talking about the NFL, even doing a game. I always thought that, like, I thought the Bucs should have hired him as their radio analyst. Now, between Deckerhoff and Sapp, I don't know how you get a word in, but I think it would have been remarkably entertaining.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. Hey, we're big on second chances. I don't mean Miller and Moulton. I mean we as a country.
Right.
And so let Warren Sapp have his chance. If he's going to help a bunch of young kids get better at football, good for him.
And I know some people think that he doesn't have a degree. I believe he has to have the degree in order to be on the staff at Colorado. Okay, so plus to be a grad assistant, you have to be what? You have to be a graduate. So there you go. Miller and Moulton. David Samson joining us at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan in a little more than an hour.
Text the show, 21,000. Your thoughts on last night's Iowa LSU game. It's part of our poll question. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Miller_Moulton on X.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Couple of insignificant sports things happened today, David.
Okay.
Lawrence Taylor defeats Bam Bam Bigelow in WrestleMania 11 today at the Hartford Civic Center. In 95. And in 96, Cecil Fielder steals his first base in his 1,097th career game. It's the longest duration in MLB history without a stolen base.
And Mel Allen documented it on This Week in Baseball.
Hey, the date is a palindrome today. I'm posting the podcast. I just noticed that.
4/2/24. Just imagine 18 years from now.
That broke my brain. I have no idea what.
18 years from now, it'll be 4/2/42.
Oh,
It's
gotcha.
like 17 years from yesterday, it'll be 4/1/41. You know, I can do this all day. Well, E.B. Hill, I think technically Dion's degree is not from Florida State.
It's not.
He went online, and it's a SWAC school, right?
Yes.
There we go. Hello.
Good morning, David.
Hello.
4242 is not a palindrome.
Right. But it's just a play on numbers. That's
It's
all.
just a day.
It's just a day in which I hope to still be alive.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I hope to see that. I'll be 76. I'd like to see that.
How are you this morning, Mr. Samson?
I am great. Tonight's my first show ever.
Oh, the live show. The
live
concert
show
tour starts
tonight in Philly.
Where are you?
I'm in New York City. So I'll do Nothing Personal this morning at 8 and then
Nap?
head to
Gonna,
Philly.
you gonna nap?
No.
No?
Watch a movie and start working on shows for tomorrow because I go to LA tomorrow.
You fly out tonight?
Sitting in for Rich Eisen.
Oh, really?
Thursday and Friday. So I'm going to go out tomorrow after I'll do a sporting class with Skipper and then go to the airport.
Now, will you still do your podcast?
Yeah, live at 8 a.m. Eastern, which is 5 a.m. Pacific. Right. I'll be up like you guys are up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I love Monday Night Football. Monday, Tuesday shows. We're on the West Coast.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's the top of hour 2 on a Tuesday, and that means David Samson. He have Nothing Personal with David Samson, a multi-award winning podcast which he records live 8 a.m. weekdays, and he has taken the show on the road this week. First off, you're filling in for Rich Eisen. Congratulations. That's
that'll
LA.
That'll be a good one. Flying to LA, I'm going to sit in his chair for a couple days while he does something else. And he called me and asked me to do it. And I said, of course I would. Little did I know at that point that I would be doing show number 1 of the live tour in Philadelphia on Tuesday tonight and show number 2 on Monday, April 8th in Atlanta. But guess what? That's why they have airplanes.
All right. I know that the live what is the difference between Nothing Personal and the Nothing Personal live show?
So Nothing Personal Live is a 90-minute show. It's another Nothing Personal episode, but it's basically twice as long with interspersed performances in between. So I'll be talking to the crowd and working the crowd, not really sketch comedy or stand-up comedy, more like a TED Talk that will make you laugh. And there are segments that are specific to the city in which I'm in. So there's certain Philadelphia things that will come up. My movie reviews will be Philadelphia related. So you'll know where you are when you come see me perform.
Don't take down Rocky. That's all I can tell you.
So you'd think that Rocky will be in my top 5 for top Philadelphia movies of all time. Is that your hope?
The original Rocky, yes, I would hope that would be in your top.
I mean, it won Best Picture, didn't it? I mean, wouldn't that make a top 5?
So my lists are not based on award winning. It's based on the movies that I love. It doesn't matter if you love them. Actually, it's wholly irrelevant. As a matter of fact, it may be a lagging indicator if you love them. But that said, I don't want to spoil anything for those of your listeners in Philadelphia. However, just because I love you guys, I'm happy to tell you that when I look at my list of movies, top 5 movies from Philadelphia, spoiler alert, Rocky is in the top 5.
All right. Whew. Man. I just felt like that was a dramatic moment on Idol there. Okay. And the most popular, person on the show, there was suspense as to whether or not they were going to advance.
I
Are
just
you going to
went
run the
to a
stairs
city.
before you do the Philly show? You do the Rocky
No,
run?
it's going to rain all day.
Oh, that's too
I
bad.
ran a half marathon yesterday as I'm prepping to go to London in 2 weeks to run the London Marathon.
Oh,
So
man, you're doing all
today,
this again.
I'm doing it all this month. That is
Golly,
for sure.
man.
Speaking of American Idol, I went to City Winery in New York City where I'll be performing April 29th. And I went to scout out the place and also to see a concert by Joshua Radin, which was fantastic. His opening act was a woman named Maddie Pope, I believe, who some may know is the American Idol winner from 2018. And it got me thinking about winning American Idol and the significance of that and what it means for your career and how it truly is a star vehicle. Winning American Idol, that's the way to do it. So that may be my future, going on American Idol with my Nothing Personal Live routine.
So much like Springsteen, after a few months to get healthy, David Samson on the road this spring in a city near you. All right. How much did you guys, we'll talk about your former day job for a second here. How much did you guys talk about marketing the sport when you all got together? Because, like, to us, opening day should be today or yesterday. And for the simple reason that, David, today, tomorrow, and Thursday, there is nothing except regular season NBA and NHL going on. There's no Final Fours. There's no Masters. There's no NFL. We're still 3+ weeks away from the draft. I mean, David, to me, it would be like, listen, start your season yesterday or today and own the sports world. Instead, you did opening day and it got lost.
Let me bring you to a negotiating table inside a collective bargaining agreement negotiation. You're sitting across from Tony Clark and others, and you're arguing and talking about major economic issues regarding pension and benefits and minimum salary and the luxury tax, the debt service rule, all meaningful economic issues. Because when you sit in a CBA, you actually have a piece of paper in front of you that has values to different issues. And then you look across the table and the guy representing the player says, you know what we really need? We need more days off. I'm sorry, what? Yes, it's very important. We need a chef in the kitchen and more days off. Well, we're happy to consider that, but we're going to need the following 10 economic things that add up to tens of millions of dollars for every owner. No problem, as long as we get extra days off. What would you do?
I would give them extra days off and take all the money that I could.
And hence the season starts earlier and earlier.
So this is not going to change, is what you're saying.
Oh, listen, no, it's not going to change.
Then answer us this. Why do they schedule the first week of the season in the cities that they schedule it? Simple things. Why is Atlanta, Philly, and Philly instead of Atlanta? Why is Milwaukee and the Mets in New York instead of Milwaukee where they have a dome? I mean, David, it's almost split perfectly in half where you've got 14 warm or covered destinations. Why is it not simply the first week of the season? That's where the season starts.
So that was my very question, why the schedule is the way the schedule is, until I was invited into a scheduling meeting when I met Katie Feeney, who used to do the schedule in baseball many, many years, if not decades ago. And then I got to know Chris Marinak, who was dealing with schedule after that. It is the most complicated Survivor jigsaw puzzle of all time. There is no Super Survivor fan who can practice at home and print out a 3D model and come on the show and look like a total Survivor nerd. There are so many requirements for each of the 30 stadiums. We're available these days, but not those days. We've got this many road games in a row. We have to have off days. We have to have afternoon games. There's so many rules about when games can be played when teams are on the road that you input all of these things. You get a questionnaire literally from baseball a year in advance. Do you want to host on July 4th? Do you want to host on Memorial Day? Do you want to host on Labor Day? Do you want to open your season at home, on the road? Do you want to close your season home, road, against your division? All sorts of questions. It all gets put into this amazing algorithm computer, and out comes this schedule, which then gets completely changed because there's 25 requirements that get missed, believe it or not. And that is why the schedule does not seem as perfect as it should be, because it is not nearly as easy as you think.
And having worked in minor league hockey and gone through this exercise with 80 games or 72 games actually in the league I worked in, I can't imagine what 162 is like, because my guess is after it comes back the first time, then there are owners that complain about what happens and it has to be revamped yet again.
It is changed and changed and changed, which is why the Oakland A's need to find a place to play for next season, because next year's schedule is already being worked on. And whether Oakland's in Oakland or Sacramento or Vegas or wherever they are, it actually impacts the schedule. Now you're going to say, oh, they're so close. What's another few miles? But you start looking at hotels when you get your first draft of the schedule. The traveling secretary is already looking at team hotels and reserving blocks of rooms for the dates the team is going to be there. You're looking at game times. You're getting your marketing material ready. All of the stuff for next year happens this year.
He's David Samson. Nothing personal with David Samson. He records it live weekdays at 8 a.m. You can follow David on X at David, the letter P. Samson, David P. Samson.
We figured out a way never to conflict with your show. What time are you off the air?
10 a.m.
Yeah.
Guess what? I am now on the DraftKings network at 10 a.m. So for all of your audience, you don't need to watch the live show at 8 a.m. You can see the exact same live show at 10 a.m. on the DraftKings network channel.
Look at that.
So there, people can watch your entire show and then go back to back and watch mine.
Okay. Did you watch women's hoops last night?
I did. I watched the first game and then I drove to the city. So I did watch Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese, and boy, did I have a few thoughts in my head.
Care to share any of them, or you're going to say?
I'm going to share one that I'm going to try out on you.
Okay.
I read a bunch of things on the internet that said that Caitlin Clark is an NBA quality player.
Well, Rob Parker of Fox said that, and most people think Rob's out of his mind.
I would say that the person at the end of the bench of the Detroit Pistons would be able to score 50 points on Caitlin, and she'd be able to score 2. Now, let me explain why. The size and the speed of the NBA, I think, is something that is, and this is not meant to be sexist in any way, because Caitlin Clark is the best shooter and the best passer and the best competitor, and the game was incredible to watch. The quality of basketball was superb. The shooting, the cutting to the basket, everything that these teams do, it's fun to watch. But it's a totally different game. And I hope that Angel Reese goes pro and doesn't take an extra year at LSU, because I'd love to see these two in the WNBA. I think it sounds crazy, but could they be the Bird and Magic of the WNBA and get that league in the place where they've wanted that league for decades and it hasn't been? It's not impossible, because, boy, that's quite a competition.
Well, I think she's going to move eyeballs to the WNBA. How many remains to be seen, but I've had more people reach out to me during Iowa games saying I'm watching than I ever remember anybody watching any other women's sport in my lifetime.
I've never watched a women's NCAA game start to finish. Last night was the first. Oh, no. Second. I watched the Iowa LSU championship game last year. And then I watched the Iowa LSU game, Big 8, this year. But now I'm completely bought in to the tournament and want to see what happens. So I actually have more interest. No, I want to see if Connecticut repeats. I'd say I have interest in both.
South Carolina, NC State, Iowa, and UConn, your women's Final Four. NC State and UConn, men and women, both making their respective Final Fours. That is
that in the bingo card.
Very impressive. He's David Samson. He's also impressive, and he is working it, burning it on all ends these days. He'll be live in Philly tonight. Then he flies to LA. He'll be filling in on Rich Eisen's show Thursday and Friday. He joins us every Tuesday at this time. Follow him on X, David, the letter P Samson, David P. Samson. Get some rest.
No rest for the weary. You know that above all. You guys are morning show people. There's no sleep for you.
No soup for you, no sleep for you.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, didn't the Astros get a no-hitter last year too?
Yes. But didn't they have a multi-pitcher?
Combined no-hitter?
A combined no-hitter, yes. But I thought.
Framber Valdez. Okay.
Okay.
He threw the no-hitter last year.
Okay.
Yeah, number 59, I think. It's got an ugly number.
They had the combined no-hitter in the World Series in 2022. Game 4 of the World Series when they were down 2-1. 4 pitchers combined on a no-hitter. They've had a bunch of combined no-nos. I remember the one at Yankee Stadium, but I'm looking it up here. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us coming up at the top of next hour. We just got done talking with David Samson, taking his show on the road. It's a whole lot different on the road. Audiences and everything. Very different.
Hecklers.
Yeah. I did stand-up comedy once, and I asked some of the comedians, what do you do when it's not working, and what do you do when you get a heckler? And the comedian said to me, well, we experienced comedians, we've got kind of heckler material. And I looked at them like, yeah, I got nothing. They're like, yeah, well, we had nothing once upon a time too. So good luck with that. All right. But their advice to me, they said, listen, if it's not working, tell your best remaining joke and leave. Okay. All right. Got it. So
were you a storyteller? Were you a joke teller? I mean, like Dangerfield used to get up there and just tell jokes. You know, Seinfeld's more of, you know, it's more of a story that builds up to it. So what were you?
It was in Scranton, and I was a student, yet I was on TV. So I was a quote unquote mini celebrity, if you will. And I made sure to invite a bunch of the TV people, and I gave them really good seats in front. And then I proceeded to make fun of them, which the rest of the crowd loved. And fortunately, we were tight. We were all younger. This was kind of a stepping stone market for us. And so we all made fun of each other and we all laughed. And I told them, I said, listen, I'm going to give you great seats. Stay as long as you want. I'm going to make fun of all of you. And they're like, oh, great. So literally in between newscasts, they came and they sat in the front and I just crushed them. And the crowd happened to like it. Had told some stories, you know, behind the scenes, and they liked it. And then I was the victim. Only one time in my life have I ever heckled a comedian. This woman was not good. And she decides, kind of like what the comedians had told me many years earlier, you kind of just go through the crowd, start working the crowd. The crowd wants to like you. The crowd will help you. They will give you some material. Oh, okay. So she starts doing that, and she's not really getting anything. And she gets to me. I'm like the fourth person she talks to. And she says, "Who are you? What do you do?" And I tell her. And I'm a sportscaster. And she goes, "Oh, wow. That sounds fun. Do you think you can get me a job?" I got a few drinks in me. I'm not going to lie. And I say, "Honey, based on tonight, I don't think anybody could get you a job."
Ouch.
So
And
you basically stole the show from her right now.
well, the crowd laughed. That's the first time that the crowd had laughed in like 15 minutes. And for whatever reason, Mark, it clicked with her. And she proceeds to take me down with a series of jokes, one funnier than the next. All right. And she ends it by saying, "Listen, okay, and finally, it was really nice to meet you. Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you go in the back, introduce yourself to the chef, rub your face in some dough, and make a-hole cookies?" Okay. And the place stands up. Okay. I'm telling you, she told 6 jokes at my expense. They were tremendous. Okay. She sent me a drink afterwards with a note that said, "Thanks."
That's cool.
And I have never said a word to a comedian again. And so my friends called me a-hole cookies for 10 years.
I think I might start calling you a-hole cookies. Miller and a-hole cookies.
Right.
Mornings.
Right. So,
and I've only been to see stand up a few times. Like you've gone to far more stand up. I've gone to a few. I was petrified to sit near the front for fear of that happening to me.
Right.
Fear of just being the guy that they're going to attack.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And said nothing. The only time I ever did some really good heckling in public, and I've told this story before, is that I heckled the San Diego Chicken. We went to a Piston basketball game, and I was young. And we used to go during the week to Piston games when they played in the Pontiac Silverdome. It was about an hour and 15-minute drive from where I lived, and no one went to the games. So you could get nosebleed seats, pay an usher, and be sitting under the hoop. But we went to see, and the San Diego Chicken was there, and we kept yelling his Ted, whatever is.
Yeah, Ted. It started with a G, and it was
right.
Gianolis or
Giannopolis, something like that. Anyhow, and we just kept yelling, "Ted, get new material." Because they're the same thing. Put the baby's head in your mouth, and hatch the egg. Ted, get new material. Hey, you gonna put a baby's head in your mouth? And he had a handler that walked around with him, and the handler then came and sat next to me and my buddy, and I'm 12. My buddies are 16 and 17 because they drove.
Right.
And the handler's threatening to fight us. To which my buddies, "Oh, you're going to fight some teenagers. Why don't you fight him? He's 12. And it just got worse for the chicken and his handler. So that's the only good heckling I've ever done.
I can't imagine Trent ever heckling someone.
Yeah, shocker. I'm not a big heckler. I'm not gonna.
But even with a couple drinks in you, if you know what I mean. I cannot envision you ever saying a disparaging word about anyone except Purdue basketball.
Oh,
okay.
I'll get on Purdue basketball.
Right.
Look, if you are,
if Matt Painter was working the room, you'd become a totally different person. Never mind if Zach Edey showed up.
I would give Aaron Rodgers some good stuff too. I got a lot of. I actually have done that. I have that on video. I have done that. Now that I'm remembering this, it was week 18. Lions hosting the Packers. Lions only have 3 wins or 2 wins at the time. That was the third win.
It's you and 70,000 though. That doesn't count.
I have a video. He looked at us because we went to where the listen. I'll send you the video. Me and my brother Brock, okay? We're down on the rail where all the Packers fans are because they're by where the tunnel. So we are blue jerseys in a sea of green and yellow. Those disgusting.
Stop it.
They're great colors.
So we just started yelling, "Are you immunized?" And he looked right up at us, and then I think he was laughing. Like he kind of thought it was funny. The fans around us were like, "Who are these 2 drunk yahoos?"
Were you at Lambeau or was it Detroit?
No, it was Ford Field.
Okay.
Well, we can do whatever we want.
I was going to say they shouldn't be looking at
do whatever we want.
I
right now.
Got season tickets. You gonna
We
throw
want
us
a playoff. We want a playoff game in 57. All right. 29 minutes after the hour. Pat Kirwan in a half an hour. What do you got?
Got several requests for the old play of the day today, but as it was written in the book of Miller and Moulton, you can't please them all. So we go to Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Astros hosting the Blue Jays. Astros give Ronel Blanco plenty of run support. He's able to shut him out, pitch the whole game, and oh, by the way, no hitter.
2-2 to Guerrero. Ground ball tap. Blanco lets it go by. Dubon fields. Throws the first in time. A no-hitter! Ronel Blanco!
Robert Ford on the call for 7:90 a.m. in Houston. Ronel Blanco, that's the 17th no-hitter in Astros franchise history. Stros beat the Blue Jays 10-0, and believe it or not, that's their first win of the season, albeit the young season. And there is your Molly Maid play of the day.
Call Molly Maid right now, 239-774-5839. Wake them up and say, I want my house clean. Get started on your day and make them start on theirs early. 239-774-5839 for Molly Maid.
How about that cannon that went off in the back?
Thought it was a trash can.
Trash can. Wow. That's not going to die, apparently.
No.
Never.
It was 6 years ago.
No, that
7 years
will
ago.
never die. When you think of the Houston Astros, you will think of trash cans from now until the end of time. I don't think there's a thing they can do about it, David. I really don't. Miller
Not
and Moulton.
even a Ronel Blanco no-hitter?
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
M Pike. It's always nice when they're talking about, you going to bed and you're with your parents. That's always good. That's like sitting on the couch, you're watching a movie, and all of a sudden a sex scene comes on. You're watching it with your mom.
Yeah, is it just this particular? We get a lot of comments in the Twitch chat room. I don't understand the hatred towards my Boilers, Trent. Is it just this Purdue team?
Yeah, no, I actually really like Matt Painter. Had the pleasure of covering Big Ten basketball throughout college, and Matt Painter's great. Class, I like him. So it's this team. It's the Zach Edey thing. I just don't. I like it. Mason Gillis has been there 100 years. And everyone loves them. So I'm just kind of like, eh.
Well, I will say, I think people feel sorry for them, being the one that lost to the 16 and then, coming back. I mean, I will say both Virginia and Purdue handled losing to a 16 and then.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, and Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. A little over 3 weeks away from the draft getting underway. We're into April, first Tuesday of the month. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, our question of the day, it involves Caitlin Clark, Iowa, LSU yet again. So what'd you think? Yeah, really liked it. All right. Yeah, I'm not doing that again. Or, yeah, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't watch.
80+% of our audience watched. 60+% really enjoyed it. About 16% said it was okay, and about 5% said never again.
Huh. Okay. Not that the sport has a commissioner, but if you're invested in the sport, and not only that, if you're invested in WNBA, I mean, we brought this up weeks ago. Will people follow her and the series of players that are coming here? Angel Reese is expected to join Caitlin in the WNBA and be a top 10 pick. You had the 2 stars last night. Beckers is coming back for one more year. Juju Watkins can't leave yet because she's a freshman at USC. But, the stars are coming, so to speak. The next generation is here. And people are watching in college like never before. Will they follow them to the pros? And if you go, no. Mark, you and I are old enough to remember Magic and Larry. And people watch like never before and never since. Mark, did they follow them to the NBA?
They sure did.
Yes, they did, Mark.
They took the NBA off of tape delay and into prime time. Prior to Magic and Larry, and even in the infancy of Magic and Larry, the NBA Finals were tape delayed on after your local evening news.
When there was only 3 networks in PBS, and they still couldn't get their championship games shown live. That's how desirable the product was. So, 45 years later, could the same thing happen? Smaller scale. It's a smaller league. It's off season. But could the same thing happen? And if it does in any way, shape, or form, how big a role will last night have played? We don't have the numbers in yet. There will be preliminary numbers that come out probably late this afternoon. Final numbers will probably come out Wednesday late morning. Trust me, they're going to take their time. They're going to add up everything they can to put into this number.
I will say, and maybe I'm off base here, but I don't see this as the Magic and Bird phenomenon because I don't see Angel Reese as the Magic part of this. She's a really nice player, but we weren't tuning in to watch LSU basketball this year. We were tuning in to watch Iowa basketball. She's more of a Steph Curry phenomenon than she's singular. It's not she and somebody else. I don't see anybody else run into the TV to watch LSU, to watch UConn, to watch South Carolina the way they're watching Iowa. It's 4-5-1.
Agreed. But I have to admit, and I was 13 when Bird and Magic were playing in the spring of 79. Where I grew up in the Northeast, the story was Bird. The story was Bird in Indiana State. They were undefeated. He was carrying them. They played a tremendous semifinal against, I think, Arkansas. Could be wrong, but it was, I think, a 2-point game. And they were undefeated playing for the national title. Where I grew up, Mark, the story was Bird in Indiana State. And I was finding out about Magic, if you know what I mean. Now, obviously, they go to the NBA, and then, Magic hits the game-winning shot in his first game, or actually set up Kareem for the game-winning shot, and then, the rest is history. And it was like, wow, this Magic guy. Like, when I watched him in the Final Four that year, Mark, I went, holy blank. This guy's good. But where I grew up, whatever game was on your television was kind of what you got. ESPN wasn't around yet. ESPN didn't start for 5 more months.
No, but entering that season, Magic was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
They had
right. Prior to the season. He's part of that sophomore class. So I'm not doing this because I'm from Michigan and I'm a little biased on this one, because my next door neighbor, the guy that I probably, idolized growing up, he's a little bit older than me. He was a Bird guy. He was all Larry. So, it was, but Magic and Bird were both stories going into that year.
They were, but just like for me, okay, Bird was a bigger deal than Magic that year and going into that Final Four and what have you. Obviously I had already decided I was going to be a sportscaster. I was a pretty big sports fan, but I had experienced more Bird than Magic at that point in my sports fandom. But yeah, you're right. Obviously Magic was a really big deal. I just hadn't seen as much of it. For whatever reason, I saw more Indiana State games than Michigan State games, which makes no sense at all. But I had. I don't know if it was the NBC Game of the Week, Raycom, I Jefferson Pilot. I don't know. But I had seen a lot of Bird. And was curious how he was going to do at the next level also. Kind of like, wow, he plays differently. You know, is he athletic enough? All right. See, man, he seems to play at his own pace. Is he going to be able to, is he going to be fast enough?
Well, and even in the final game, right? It was it? Who was the announcer that said it was going to be Kelser who's going to be the star, not Magic?
I think it was Packer.
Billy Packer, right?
Right.
He was all over Kelser.
Right.
And said he'll be the guy at the next level that'll be the star.
Right.
Maybe want that one back.
Miscalculation. We didn't have awful announcing back then. That one just kind of, that's like those that said I'd take Leaf over Manning.
Yeah, I'm guilty. I thought we saw the best we could see out of Manning. He wasn't going to improve at the level that we could see Ryan Leaf improve at. That was a nice hot take.
And maybe it was because Bird had already been drafted by the Celtics that I was more familiar with Bird also. That's the last time that ever happened, was the Larry Bird exemption. They took that away. Red Auerbach, pulled a fast one on the rest of the league, drafted him a year early. Worked out well, too, because the Celtics were awful. And next thing you know, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals.
But back to Caitlin Clark, I think that's a singular story. I think she will bring eyeballs to the WNBA. I truly do. Because put it this way, I'll watch. I'm curious now to see, and I've told you this a few times, I'm curious how she will be able to play at the next level.
So I gave out inaccurate information yesterday. I was told, and I reread the story. All right. I was told by ESPN.com that the highest rated women's college basketball game was last year's final of LSU Iowa, which drew 9.9 million. Turns out they left a valuable piece of information off there. It's the highest watched women's college basketball game on their networks. Because the two highest rated women's college basketball games involve Cheryl Miller in the mid 80s on CBS, both for the Natty. Cheryl Miller is a freshman, highest rated game ever, 1983. They beat Louisiana Tech for the title, drew just under 12 million. 3 years later, they lost to Texas in her final college game for the Natty. It drew just over 11 million. Now, that's day and age, just three networks. Fox wasn't around yet. ESPN was, but Fox wasn't around yet. And so Cheryl Miller actually attracted more eyeballs than Caitlin Clark so far. But I will say, when you go through, Mark, the sixth highest rated game ever was a national semifinal, but it was shown on CBS in 92.
And we're not privy to, there's nothing. I read the same article. I don't know what the lead-ins were. I don't know how that game was put on.
So we will see where this ranks. And it'll take them a little while. It takes usually at least 24 hours, sometimes up to 36. So we'll see. But our poll question involves, in a way, did you watch? If you watched, what was your level of enjoyment? We had a gentleman in a Twitch chat room said, guys, I got to be honest. I watched, I did, but to me, it was a junior varsity guys game. Okay. And then we've had people say, wow, I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to watch again. All right.
Of those that have voted, only a couple have said never again. I think that bodes well. Because I thought the first half was played at a very high level. The second half, LSU just wasn't unable to match Iowa. And as you pointed out, that they, from an announcer standpoint, we talked about it on our show. Can Iowa get the other players going on their team? They did early.
And LSU had a third quarter in which they couldn't put the ball in the ocean. And even though they dominated the glass, it wasn't enough. They also missed a few free throws that would have kept them in it when they needed to stay in it.
Although they didn't get many.
They didn't get enough. That's for sure.
They kind of let them play last night a little bit, especially towards the end.
I'm sorry, what?
They let them play.
Oh, yeah, and I wish we had seen more replays of it. Okay, because when a player drives to the basket and the ball ends up being knocked out of bounds and they turn at the official and they put their arms up in the air like, come on. I mean, that's showing up an official. And you run the risk of getting teed up when you do that. I mean, I'd like to see a replay about was that a foul or was that a good block? And they're just whining for a call. And I'm not saying whining because they're women, because trust me, Luka whines more than anybody.
I'll tell you the one thing, both the men's and women's college game, that it may be just a ticky-tack call in my world or to you, but to me it drives me crazy, is the number of times they come up with a jump ball. Apparently I can just dive on the other person.
Yes.
And I mean, there was a play last night in which the Iowa gal had the ball. The LSU player had the Iowa player around the waist, had a hold of her waist, was not touching the ball, never touched the ball. And they called a jump ball. And it's just as bad with the men. It just happened. This is the play that I remember most recently. But you can basically throw a tackle on somebody and they're going to call a jump ball.
There were a couple of those plays in the Purdue-Tennessee game specifically.
Yes.
Going both sides.
Both sides. Yes.
This is not Purdue slander. But yeah, it's almost like it's like football. You got to make a play on the ball. If you just go at it, even if you're not touching the ball, tweet, jump ball.
Yeah, this is a scrum. This is a rugby scrum half the time, and it's one of the things I wish they'd get a little better at. Both the men's and women's.
He goes by Greasy in our Twitch chat room, and he says, listen, it's good basketball. It's just not exciting for me. The best plays in it don't get me, really charged up.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That is understandable. I forget a lot of guys have probably made this sentiment, but I think it was Anthony Davis specifically was talking about how one of the things he respects so much about the women's game is it's all skill-based. No one is, 90% of it, I should say. You don't really have people or women in the women's game who are making their living off their athleticism or high-flying or running track meets. It's a lot of finesse, ball handling, shooting.
Well, and Caitlin Clark's as good of a passer as she is shooter.
Yes.
I mean, that's the one. That's the thing I come away with impressed is her passing more than her shooting. The way she leads people on passes is pretty damn impressive.
So Friday night, by the way, has Dawn Staley in South Carolina gotten a gift from the heavens? They are undefeated, trying to win a national title, and no one is paying attention to them. They can just go about their business and do their thing. And all the way to the Final Four, where they're going to be playing NC State in the one semifinal. And the only game people are going to be talking about is Iowa-UConn in the other semifinal. They could be 37-0 playing for the Natty, and it'd be like, oh, here's South Carolina. What a gift Iowa and Caitlin Clark has given South Carolina. Miller and Moulton, Pat Kirwan next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning.
Good to hear your voices.
You sound very, very strong, solid, authoritative this morning.
Your sarcasm is just
No. I mean that. You're coming through. You know, you've said lately, you know, you've had trouble with hookups and headphones.
Yeah, well, you
and
know
what
what
have
I'm
you.
not doing? I don't have a headset on. I'm just talking into the computer.
There
which
you go.
Almost is terrible. Almost always the worst.
You sound
Yeah,
terrific.
guys do it on my show and they come on a computer. I go, don't do it. But I'm glad it sounds good.
Oh.
Hey, I enjoyed watching that Clark girl play last night.
You did.
I got my niece, my granddaughter here, and she's a basketball nut, and she loves that girl. But so I said to her, "It's the passing, the three shot. Her 3-pointers are should be 4-pointers where she shoots from."
But you are right. She can pass the ball.
She is real, and she's got some vision on the court.
Serious question. How much, if your niece was there, you wouldn't have watched though, right?
It would have been on.
Okay.
But I would have been doing stuff, but just to watch her enthusiasm. So I did ask her, if you could meet her or Taylor Swift, who would you want to meet? She said, Clark.
Wow.
That's a BFD right there.
She might be, more inclined to be an athlete than a singer. But yeah, she said, no, I'd rather meet her. Pretty interesting. How many followers does that girl have?
Oh, gosh.
I'm sure millions.
So what's new, fellas?
Nothing. Nothing. Just getting stuff done, Pat.
Now I'm turning to the draft, Pat. Now it's nonstop prepping for the draft.
There you go. It's the time to do it. I know you don't like mock drafts, but they are such a good exercise to prepare yourself for players, because you can't just say the name. You got to tell her, why and what does he do and all that stuff. So Thursday we have 2 rounds with trades, and you pick 2 at a time. So Jimmy will go first and take 1 and 2. Then I get 3 and 4, and that screws up everything. If you think you know who's going to go where, Try do 2 at a time. Oh man.
The thing I like about what I would consider to be good mock drafts, like you guys are not going to do crazy stuff. All right. Is I think in good mock drafts, you can get a feel for what position groups are going to be available when.
Absolutely. It's really loud and clear to me after doing 2 of them. If you want a pass rusher, you better take him early.
Right. But you can get, I think you can get corners in the 20s.
Yeah. And last week, interestingly enough, to your point, because there are so many tackles, the tackles kind of didn't go early. You know, they may go early this week, but they didn't go that early because I think both of us were thinking, and we never talked to each other about it. I can always get a tackle. I can always get a tackle. You keep pushing them down. But I don't know. I told you one of my guys who was at every one of the quarterback workouts told me that the most impressive guy, not workout as much, was McCarthy, which depressed me.
Well, on that note, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Joined by Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 7. And this Thursday, he and his co-host Jim Miller are doing a 2-round mock draft with trades. So if that interests you, 3 weeks to the day of the first round of the NFL draft, Pat Kirwan, Moving the Chains, this Thursday, a 2-round with trades mock draft. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. All is well. And it feels like a little dead spot here, but Mark said it's time to turn all attention to the draft, except the NFL teams aren't doing that. They know, and I have 159 guys left that I think will get signed. And you know that are all 1-year deals. So Wentz falls off the board yesterday or tonight or last night. So they're moving along, not that much, not that quick, but guys are going to pick them off methodically and set themselves up for the right after the draft. And I mean right after the first round. There's going to be guys getting signed in the overnight, and there's going to be signed in the overnight Friday night as well. So you got to get those guys lined up just in case you miss on what you're looking for in the draft.
About 10% of those guys you think get signed between now and the draft, Pat, or more than that?
I'm with you on that, Mark. It's kind of a slow dribble right now since the owners' meetings because everyone is basically locked down trying to get a draft board squared up. But they know, and they have their pro guy calling those agents. Let's use the Chiefs. With what's going on with Rice, there's no doubt in my mind that their pro people have already talked to 2 or 3 of the agents of the best receivers left going, let us get through this and see what happens. But if we have to move away from him or he's going to be suspended, we're interested in your client. So you're pushing those kind of storylines to the agents. And then I always end with, and by the way, if you get a good deal while I'm waiting, take it. But we will call you back if we have a problem.
Don't you think Odell to the Chiefs makes a lot of sense for both right now?
Yes, me too. Boyd, Michael Thomas, but of all of them, Odell. Odell's in good shape. He got through the year last year. When I was at camp, he still has some suddenness to him. I think with what they have going on, I think Odell would be great there.
Who else in the wide receiver camp still available free agent-wise, Pat?
Tyler Boyd, Michael Thomas, and some of them, those are good players. Those guys can line up and play right now and be functioning players. I'm going to talk to Valdez-Scantling this afternoon, see what's going on in his life, because, you can say what you want about him. He's had a couple of bizarre drops, but he knows their stuff inside out, and they have taken guys back, before like that. But there's other guys, D.J. Shark. You don't have to. You can dip a little deeper if you want. But to me, Odell, Michael Thomas, Tyler Boyd, those 3 guys, one of them should be a Chief.
Well, I will say in a lot of mock drafts, Pat, that speedy receiver from Texas, the guy who ran the fastest 40
Yeah.
ever. I keep seeing him mocked to the Chiefs at 32.
Well, a vertical threat to help out clearing out the coverages. First off, whether he can catch or not, which is always debatable. Staying healthy is a problem for those guys. Track guys with hamstrings, right? I think he actually had to pull up after his 4.2 or 4.140 or something. But a vertical guy, you got to think about your coverages. And so if you single him up and he's as fast on a football field as he's just run, then all of a sudden you got issues with him. So I could see a vertical threat as a component to their offense that would cause problems for defense.
Pat, you talked about you doing a mock draft on your show. How many mock drafts are teams doing right now? How often are mock drafts being done inside a draft room, or are we not there yet?
No, they're gonna do them soon. They don't need to do them yet. They're gonna do them soon. And the way we did it, and the way most guys do it, is they're gonna assign. Let's say, okay, Mark, you've got the NFC South teams. Dave, you got the NFC West. I've got the AAC. Whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna assign them. Because I get guys who call me all the time, going, "Hey, I got assigned this conference, this division. What do you think they're gonna do?" Because they want to educate themselves onto the probable needs, etc. And then when they have them, they're just trying to calculate, do we have to move up to get a guy? Can we move down and get a guy as good? And they're trying to figure that part out. And so it's the pace of positions. I think David talks about that enough. So, and where do we have to go to get the guy we want? And so it's interesting, and they should do it. It's a rehearsal. And they know a little bit more than us about a lot of things. They're on the road at these pro days. They're talking to each other. They watch the same workout. If the three of us went to watch, I don't know, J.J. McCarthy throw, I think the three of us on the way to the airport might be talking about that workout. And I might say, I'm not impressed. And you might say, David, hey, you know what? That guy was unbelievable in the classroom. Those are the things that happen.
Well, Pat, I mean, I read what I thought was an interesting story a couple of weeks ago from a former scout that said, let's face it, we don't know how to pick quarterbacks. And he basically said that if you were to objectively look at the job that we have done over 20, 30, 40 years with quarterbacks, we haven't done a good job. And we need to rethink how it is we evaluate quarterbacks. And Pat, if you go back in time, okay, what is the one thing now that teams are still doing wrong, that you may have made a mistake and done wrong with quarterbacks that they're emphasizing, which they shouldn't?
Well, first off, you have to know your own situation. You have to know what you're putting them into. So if you know you have to play the guy on opening day, that you don't have a veteran, a seasoned veteran that's good, but he's in his last contract, you have to put the kid out there right away. There are just certain guys you can't take right away. And there are guys that, you know, if I have to play him right away, I think I could play him. Like, to me, Daniels is a guy I could put out on the field. 6 years of college, tons of starts. Bo Nix, whether you like him or not, he probably can go out early. But some of these other guys can't. And that's your situation. Then you have to see what is our offense? Is our offensive coordinator going to be here? I know Mark has said it many, many times. When these guys fire the OCs at the end of the first year and the kid's got 3 coordinators in 3 years, not everybody can handle. It was amazing, really, about Joe Flacco. I think he had 5 coordinators in 6 years. So he had the intellect to handle another offense. Some of these guys can't. They're good at what they do, but they're not going to do the next thing. So that's all part of it. But then can you measure leadership? You got to get in the huddle with 30-year-olds. That's why they like Brock Purdy. The day he walked in, I know I said this on the show, the day he walked into the huddle for the first time, he said, hey, shut up. I got to call this play. And the veterans love that. But some guys get in there and they can't spit out the words, and the veterans don't like that.
All right. All this being said and evaluating quarterbacks, Caleb Williams is the guy that most likely is going to go first. And you've got Chicago in a situation with a lame duck coach. And they're setting, I mean, are they setting themselves up for failure again, Pat?
It appears that way. They don't know their fan base, or they do and they don't want to admit it. The fan base has not been positive about Williams coming because of the things that are reported about Williams. And in Chicago, blue collar town, and they've seen it all. And unfortunately for all these guys, you are responsible for the sins of the past. It'll have nothing to do with Williams, but the frustration of Trubisky, Justin Fields, losing for a long time, really never picking an elite quarterback in the history of the organization all the way back to the beginning, maybe one. They're just waiting for more failure. And it's kind of sad. I try to correct them all the time. I said, Detroit broke their cycle. Why can't you break yours? And they go, you hear the stuff this kid does? And it'll come from the media as well. The media, once that guy throws 2 interceptions in a game and looks lost, they will explode on him. Does he have the mental toughness to handle that? And that's where I think a lot of these guys couldn't handle Chicago. It's a tough place because it's really a lot of ghosts in the closet there.
Pat, is there a test? Is there something a team can do to find out if a guy can process information? Because to me, that's one of the big things that seemingly teams don't find out until they throw him in there and they realize, oh, wow, he can't handle the line of scrimmage. There's got to be a way to find out that beforehand, right?
Well, we use testing with a company, a very famous company that their name was Caliper. They did a lot of work with, should we make this guy a bank president? Can this guy be the CEO of General Motors? That's where their world was. So those guys have the same challenges. We're going to put this guy in front of, all of our employees. Can he be the leader? So there is leadership stuff that will involve intellect. The S2 test was supposed to be able to process information stuff. It's the pressure of the moment. You can't create the pressure in a room at a desk taking a test. It's not the same as walking into your stadium and people throwing stuff at you.
All right, but back to Williams. Should the Bears be extending everybody? Because to me, if you're not going to extend the coach, then you're putting everybody in a bad situation. Should they bite the bullet, extend everybody, bring Williams in, and say, all right, you've got 4 years to do this?
They won't do it because they don't mean it. They can give everyone a 4-year extension, but once the pressure's on, they'll fire everyone. Here's why in a place like Chicago, this is what they should have done, what we did at the Jets when we hired Parcells. You cannot keep hiring inexperienced dudes in Chicago. You got to walk in there with a guy with his own credentials, and he will stop the media and stop the pressure on the quarterback. But and I like their young coach, but look at who they keep hiring. In the city, really the biggest city with one football team in it, they needed to hire a high-profile guy to come in there, and that becomes just like Parcells did with our team. No one would dare challenge Bill Parcells. But Chicago doesn't have that dimension, Mark. So the coach he's going to go thrown out with the dishwater too.
Well, and a lot of people that believe that's because the Bears are cheap and they won't spend the money for a big name coach with gravitas and give up the power that goes along with it. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. The draft is 3 weeks from Thursday. This Thursday, Pat and his co-host Jim Miller are going to do a 2-round with trades mock draft. If that interests you, Pat's show is 3 to 7 on NFL Radio weekdays. More with Pat Kirwan coming up on the other side. We are Miller and Moulton. And thanks so much for listening. Where else but right here? MillerandMoulton.com and Miller_Moulton on X.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps. Have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What were you looking at, Mark, on that screen?
Oh, a text from somebody that I made no sense.
Yeah, I was looking. I go, it's your face looked like something's breaking over there.
Yeah, it was just an angry text that I don't know what brought it on.
A lot of people like to be angry on the internet and on television and radio because
yes, they do.
They can't be angry anywhere else. Hey, I wouldn't say this on the air, but how the hell is the University of Colorado permitting Warren Sapp to be joining the coaching staff?
Well, we know that Deion's got free reign, and all Sapp had to do was get a degree, and so that's why he went online and finished his credits.
But I didn't think you could hire guys that have the kind of arrest record he has as a public employee of the state of Colorado.
As a grad assistant, I think they're looking the other way. They're all in.
Yeah.
They're all in.
There's a lot of guys in the Colorado that never got a state job because of their record.
Oh, I know. But they also weren't working for this AD and this university president.
How foolish, and I love Deion, but how foolish was he to say my son won't be playing in cold weather climates? Your son's not that good. So just be hopeful that he gets drafted.
You think that? I actually think he's pretty good.
I don't think he's very good at all.
Interesting. It's very accurate.
Yeah. He just doesn't have enough in my mind.
I will say he had no offensive line. He got the tar beat out of him last year.
Yeah, but it must have not been that bad because a couple times he got caught at halftime on his phone promoting a product.
Yeah, that was a bizarre story when that happened.
It's always amazing how Trent remembers these critical stories about character.
It was that game. They were up big at halftime, and they ended up blowing it.
Yeah.
He's promoting his merch.
Yeah, and proud of it.
I think we're going to end up with Deion in Colorado week 2 on CBS. Looking at the schedule, I think we're going to have Colorado at Nebraska.
Good. You going to sit down with him the night before?
Well, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll have a production meeting.
When you get him alone and say, Pat said to say hello. I used to take care of Deion. Hey, D, I got something for you I'm not giving to the other guys. Oh, yeah, bring it on. He was, for me, he was so good to me when I was first starting there. He used to send me on assignments so I could go watch my son play college football.
That's awesome.
He goes, "Is Shawnee Boy playing today?" I said, "Yeah, it's his last college game." He goes, "You're getting out of here. I got a mission for you." I go, "Where is it?" He goes, "Where's the game?" I go, "Philadelphia." He goes, "That's where the mission is." Trent, you'll love this. You'll laugh. This is Deion couldn't keep his nose out of anything, and he was dying to have friends, and he didn't know how to have friends. So one day, and I told Dave and Mark this, one day at the studio on a Saturday, Marino said to me, "How you getting back to Florida?" I said, I got a flight, Newark to whatever. And he goes, "Screw that." He goes, "I got no one on the plane with me. I'll fly you over, land at Naples, and then I'll just go take the plane over." And he goes, "I got 2 bottles of wine and a good movie." So Deion, and I said, "Well, what do you got?" So Deion hears this and he comes over and he goes, "Hey, you guys are flying together?" He was just trying to get on that plane and get dropped off in Atlanta. So Dan Marino goes, he says, "Dan, what kind of plane?" He goes, "I got a G7. "Really? You think you'd stop?" And he goes, "Okay, Deion, this is how this works. For me, G7 is a plane. For you, G7's a gate."
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, and during the season on Sunday, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All right. I'm going to ask you one more quarterback question.
Sure.
What's the most important characteristic to you when evaluating a quarterback? Is it physical? Is it arm strength? Is it experience? How many starts in college? What is the most important thing on your list for
Well, I asked Bill Walsh that question. We were doing a video series together, and I asked him that question. And without hesitation, he said accuracy. He goes, "That's the most important thing to me." And I think Bill said that because he knew he was going to fit the player into a scheme specific for him. That's why what he did with Steve Young was different than what he did with Montana. But what he liked about both guys was accuracy. So sooner or later, you got to deliver the ball. And it's the coach's job to put you in an offense that you can handle. That might be just 10 plays. For the next guy, it might be 10 pages. But you have to be accurate when you throw the ball. So I don't think there's a real right answer to that question. For some guys, it's escapability. For other guys, it's leadership in the huddle. There's a lot of things it could be, but I'll go with Coach Walsh. He had a couple of Hall of Famers, and he said it was accuracy.
So what's then the mistake that GMs make in drafting quarterbacks? Because we could have up to, 5 or 6 go in the first round this year, Pat. And
that
we
doesn't
know
mean they're good enough. That just means that they're afraid not to take the chance. I mean, most of them believe you got to keep trying. And there's been teams and coaches rewarded for keep trying. Can you imagine, were the Lions ever going to take Stafford after the disaster they had before that? A lot of guys didn't want him to touch a quarterback. The Falcons, I get so many calls back in the day, they did not want to take Matt Ryan. They had so many bad experiences with quarterbacks. They go, no, they want to take a defensive tackle. I said, no, you keep trying. So I've said a couple things already on this show. The vulnerability of the drafted quarterback. Does he have to play right away? Is the offense? I hate coaches that bring a playbook and open it up and say, here, we're going to do this. I always quote Ron Earhart. Ron Earhart didn't have playbook. He said, I have to work with the guy for 2 or 3 weeks before I really understand what offense we're going to use. I had never heard coaches say stuff like that in pro football. They got hired because they knew the West Coast offense. They got hired because they knew something about some other offense. And then they don't take that into account when they're drafting. So it frustrates me when I see how quarterbacks can get ruined. And they get ruined pretty quick, right? We talked about the class of 2021 2 weeks ago. Wipeout except for Trevor.
Carson Wentz signing with the Chiefs. That's
Love it.
interesting. I mean, because think about it, he was basically out of the league last year. You know, I mean, I know he was in it, but he didn't play much. I mean, and so now of all places, Andy Reid says, no, veteran, been there. Okay, he's the ups, the down. No, physically also, he looks at Wentz and he goes, no, you'll fit in my offense. I found that of all, like to me, I would have thought he would have chose Tannehill over Wentz because Tannehill would have been more like an athletic Chad Henne. Okay, Ryan will get the ball here. He can dink it and dunk it and this, that, and the other thing. And he can get me, Mahomes gets a sprained ankle in the third quarter. Tannehill can get me to the finish line that day.
Yeah, I agree with that. It looked like a better fit, but Andy Reid, first off, it's a great place for him to go. Andy Reid has saved careers and he's created careers. Chase Daniels, he couldn't play, but Andy brought him from New Orleans, and after that guy's been getting paychecks for the rest of his life. Wentz has all the skills in the world, but my time with Wentz, I've always felt like the guy, it built up on him too fast, the lack of confidence, the booing, the switching teams. He needs to just get his confidence rebuilt, and Andy Reid is one of the only guys that has the credentials to do that. And you think about Andy Reid's backup quarterbacks. Every time one of those guys has come in a game, they are prepared and they play well. And he will build that guy up to be able to function and maybe win a couple games if Mahomes, God forbid, got hurt. So great place for him to go. And he may land up there for 10 years. Who knows? If he can't, if he gets on the field and plays well, someone will sign him. If he never gets on the field, Andy will keep extending him and keeping him around. Think of some of the guys who have been the backups there. And he'll have a nice career. It really, I felt bad for Wentz. The last time I was with him, I felt terrible for him.
Well, and now an opportunity like any other, like you just said, with Andy Reid, this makes life easy for any quarterback to play in that system. And obviously, he may not even play. That's the other side of it. Where do you think Tannehill ends up?
If I'm Tannehill at this point, I do nothing. I sit home and wait for a major injury. Because he could get a starting job. There's a bunch of teams, although a lot of guys signed quality backups this season. I think we had 28, count this one, 29 quarterback transactions since the start of free agency. And a lot of people realize we don't have a good number two that can go out there and win a game for us. So a lot of guys got signed, but Tannehill on the emergency list and a major injury to a quarterback, he'll be the first and only guy called, and he'll get a job. A little bit like Flacco going to Cleveland.
What are the Broncos doing at quarterback? I mean,
it's a great question.
Right now they look as if, they have to be drafting a quarterback. They don't have anybody. Yet at the same point in time, Sean Payton's in his early 60s. He wants to win yesterday. A young quarterback doesn't seem to be in Sean Payton's MO.
If he wanted to win yesterday, he wouldn't have fired Russell Wilson, because there's nothing available that's got a chance to win more games than Russell Wilson. And he decided he didn't want to work with Russell. And that tirade on the sideline, so the answer to your question is he's living a dangerous life right now. He's probably going to land up with Bo Nix and put him out on the field and just try to function. He should have kept Russell Wilson. He should have figured it out, and he should have played to Russell's strengths, not his strengths. I said to Sean, I'm pretty good friends with Sean. I said, Sean, he's not Drew Brees. You already know that. So all that midline throwing, that's not who this guy is.
Was it just stubbornness, thinking he could change him, or the unwillingness to change? I mean, what?
Yeah, he was leery of the escape passing game, which is what Russell was all about. And Sean was quick to give me the accurate stat on how many of his touchdown passes were outside the pocket, which is never Drew Brees. So that part of it. And then I think Sean, to David's point, impatient. He thought he was going to come into Denver and turn that thing right around. He overestimated the talent on that football team and realized as he got in there, this is not going to be easy. And it got harder in year 2 than it was going to be last year. It's harder now. Does anybody think they're going anywhere?
Well, between lack of draft picks or even the draft picks they've acquired, they've had to trade away some of their best players. Their cap situation obviously isn't going to be good for a while now. No, they're taking a huge step backwards to hopefully go forwards.
And then you ask yourself, will Sean be here? This is not going away just this year. Next year, they're going to take another Wilson cap hit. They're going to have to develop a quarterback. I don't know. Sean could be out of there in 3 years.
Yeah, he's not a patient guy. I mean, he did go through a 3-year drought in New Orleans and stuck it out. And I don't know how many more opportunities he'll have besides this one. So he may stick this out, but it clearly is going to take a lot longer than he had hoped. He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains 3 to 7 weekdays, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. Pat, as always, thanks for your time and your insight. Have a good mock draft on Thursday. We'll talk Friday.
Very good. Take care, fellas. Thank you very much.
Pat Kirwan joining us here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So no Powerball winner.
That's going over $1 million now too.
Over
or $1 billion rather.
I have to get a new windshield today. I took a rock near the top part of the windshield, small crack, which has slowly just began to split. across the windshield. So I don't know how long that takes, but
They come into your house to do it?
nope, I'm going to them.
Oh, that sucks.
Hell, I had to drive around for 2 weeks with it. That's how busy they are. I've enjoyed just seeing, how much bigger has the crack gotten today? Ooh, look at that. Less than an hour, Arch? I'll hold you to it. Paid my taxes online yesterday. Well, Deadstruck, as a grad assistant, is it really a foolish hire? I mean, what negative influence do you think that one of the 10 best defensive linemen of all time is going to have on the defensive line of the Buffaloes? You know, he's not on the recruiting trail. Yeah. I just don't know how he's going to negatively impact the kids. You know, Dion doesn't tolerate misbehavior. He may tolerate a little bit of it on the field, but he doesn't tolerate it off the field. So apparently Semesco's really in the mix for the Miami job.
Really?
Apparently the AD has gone away from Katie Meyer's list. Katie Meyer had a list of like 3-4 people. And
Well, that would be great for him. It would be devastating for FGCU.
I mean, I reached out to somebody at FGCU last night and said, are you guys even in position to hire a new coach? I mean, who would handle it? And I did say to that person, I go, don't laugh. I'll give you 3 names. I said, seriously, if you need to know who to hire, I'll give you 3. I think Andy wanted no part of the Big Ten for USC. I don't think Andy thinks it's going to go well for the non-football entity. And I think he's worried about it. So I think he got out before it affects his program. He didn't tell me that, but that's because he's got 2 teenagers in high school.
Here we go.
So it's an awkward time for him to leave.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, the Diamond District bonus hour. Coming up at that point in time. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question involves the LSU-Iowa women's game last night. And it takes everything into account, at least we think. What was your thoughts on the game? You know, basically, big 2 thumbs up. I ain't doing that again. Or, yeah, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't watch. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
Most of you really enjoyed it. That's a really good sign. Means that these numbers, even though it was the rematch of last year's Natty, maybe the Iowa numbers go up keep going up, if you will, for the Final Four game and perhaps a final.
It'll be Friday night The women's Final Four is Friday, Sunday. Friday, ESPN, Sunday, ABC. Now if you're ESPN/ABC, you're looking at this going, listen, as long as South Carolina wins the one semi, we're getting either Iowa or UConn in the other. Okay. You can't get a bad result. Now, Iowa's the better result because Clark is a phenomenon. But if you're ESPN/ABC, you can get the undefeated team against either the program over the last 30 years or the phenomenon.
You can sell it that way, David. It's Iowa or bust for the rating standpoint. Iowa or bust, and it ain't close. The UConn thing's neat. Everybody knows who they are. People aren't stopping what they're doing to watch UConn women's basketball. They're not.
Agreed.
People are stopping what they do to watch Caitlin Clark. It's not Iowa. It's Caitlin Clark. Could rename them from the Hawkeyes to the Clarks. And everybody would go, ooh, that makes sense.
So we'll see either later today or early tomorrow the numbers for last night. In theory, the numbers will be bigger Friday, right?
In theory, it's a Friday night. We've pointed it out many times. It's the worst night for television.
Saturday's the worst.
Saturday's the worst.
Right.
Friday's the second
right.
worst.
For Monday's better than Friday, no doubt. But I will say, I think this audience will find it, though. And then we'll see whether or not they get 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And remember, for those, Iowa knocked off South Carolina last year in the national semis before they lost to LSU. So you could have that rematch also. How about this? UConn in the role of underdog. UConn in the role of afterthought. That's what a phenomenon she is. But that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X, vote. That is our poll question. Have to admit, now I'm getting excited about the draft. Considering I was so lousy with the brackets this year, I figure I can't be that lousy with the draft.
Oh, so you have you have your own personal competition with the draft. I don't worry about where picks are. That's not my MO to win the mock draft. You want to win the mock draft.
Well, it's not that I want to win it. It's just that I want to come across as if I'm semi-intelligent.
You are very intelligent. I don't know what that has to do with the draft. There are general managers of NFL teams that are picking. We have no idea what they're going to do.
Well, God knows that's true. Joe Douglas can screw up a 3-car funeral. That is true. We've seen plenty of evidence of that. I know.
I can't stand when you're reading. I know that a lot of places do this, but when they put the trades in there, I don't like that because you have no idea if they're going to trade that pick and who they're going to trade it to and what they're going to get in return.
So, Trent, Miller and Moulton determined our show that when we teamed up together now many, many years ago in front of this building that we're in, it literally was done outside the front door in a matter of 90 seconds, David?
Tops.
In which David said to me, and I'd always wanted to do a show with David. So when he grabbed me and said, I think we should team up, I was ecstatic. I truly, it was as happy as I've been in the time in this profession, because I always thought David and I would do a great show together. And David said, I think we should team up and do a show together. And I'm in my head, I'm going, oh my God, that's great. I've thought about this so many times. And he said, what do you think? And I said, I love it. I love it. I said, what do you want to call the show? And I had thought about it. I thought Miller and Moulton sounded better than Moulton and Miller. It just does. It's phonetically, it just comes off better. And David said, I think Miller and Moulton sounds better. And I said, I do too.
And that was good because, see, he let me name the show. So I got in my one thing that, okay, let's do it. And this is the name. So then Mark had a chance to basically say, well, then, okay, here's my one thing.
I climbed the top rope and said, as long as David used to have, when he did his show alone, would have his mock draft in which he would let the listeners, the callers, be GMs for teams. And I believe Warren Sapp was traded for 2 first-rounders at some point.
Okay, in the same mock draft, Sapp and Strahan both got traded in the top 6 moves of the draft. Right. We're trading away first ballot Hall of Famers for a couple of first-round picks.
I'm doing mornings at the time. David's doing afternoons. I turn it off, and I'm cursing him for doing the show. And his show was very good alone. And so I said, all right, we got the name. I said, as long as we don't ever do the fan draft. And he went, done. And that was the end of the negotiations. It was over at that point. There was nothing else that we had to worry about.
It was hardball. It was extensive. It took a very long time. You want to do a show together? Yeah. What do you want to call it? Miller and Moulton. All right. You got any requests? Yeah. We ain't never doing that stupid fan draft.
So we would do a draft in the afternoons. It was a lot easier. We would do a draft with beat writers. And our old producer did a tremendous job of lining up a beat writer for every team. And you can't do it in the mornings because you've got people on the West Coast. It just doesn't work. But we didn't allow trades. And I always thought that was a better assessment of what the draft was going to be. Yeah, they're going to be trades, but the team knows what they want.
And we would do it the Wednesday before the draft. And the beat writers would then say, well, because they would be on hold, Trent, listening to 1 or 2 picks before. And they would say, well, to be honest with you, the Colts really wanted the guy that the Titans took. All right. And since you guys don't allow trades, I think if this were to unfold this way, the Colts would actually trade out. But to play along with your guys' rules. So we would get really good insight from the beat people before they would make their pick. And I always thought it was the best show we did all year, was the Beat Writers mock draft, in terms of the quality of content.
Well, let's do one. A couple weeks, a few
Can't
weeks.
do it.
Good luck getting the guy from L.A. to come on the show at 4 a.m. to make a pick.
I just got to drag you guys back into the studio at 7 p.m. We could tape it.
We will do our live draft show again. At least I'm hoping. We took last year off. I'm not going to be gone this year.
We're going to do it on Twitch?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Trent, I just want to give you a little word of warning. Mark drinks during our Twitch draft, and everything's fine till we get to the very early 20s. And that's usually when Mark switches from beer to the hard stuff. And at that point, okay, as Hawk Harrison famously said, he gone. All right, because that's it. It's over for Mark Miller.
About pick 24, I'm in big trouble. I know somewhere around pick 24, I wanted the same cornerback taken for the next 3 picks, and he'd already been taken.
We had one draft where at 24, 26, and 28, Mark's calling out the same guy. I'm like, he got taken at 21. Ah, really? I missed that. Yeah, no, I know you did. Have another one.
Yeah, this is going to be must see. We're going to have to.
Oh, you're more than welcome to be a part of our draft coverage, unlike any other.
And I am serious about it.
But you know that I am too until a point.
You are until until you get you said let's break out the hard stuff. Yep.
Well, it's like live sports. It's like live reactions, live content. People love that. They also love when you're authentic, and Mark would be doing that whether or not the camera's on anyways. So what you see is what you get.
Like Pat's done a couple of mock drafts on his show, and in his mock drafts, the offensive tackles have slid into the 20s and the defensive linemen have gone earlier. A lot of the mock drafts that I'm seeing, the offensive linemen go first. There's like 2 defensive linemen that go in the top 15. And then there's a whole bunch of edges. Verse from Florida State, Chop Robinson from Penn State. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where they're in the mid to late 20s.
Tampa would be doing cartwheels, David, if the draft unfolds that way, because they need an edge rusher badly. And there aren't a lot of them in this draft.
I'm thinking all 3 Florida franchises. I think the Dolphins at 21. I know in theory, best offensive lineman on the board, somebody who's versatile and what have you. But Mark, because they have a first, a second, and they don't have a pick again till the 5th.
Right.
And so which do you think you can get in the second round? Do you think you can get an offensive lineman that can help in the second round, or a defensive lineman that can help in the second round?
Based on this year's draft, I think it's an O-lineman in the second round, David, because there are just so few edge rushers. When you look at people's top 100, there are only a handful of guys that you would consider edge rushers.
Right. And so, see, that's the nooks and crannies stuff that Miller and Moulton really get into. That's what I am fascinated. Okay, how many quarterbacks are going to go, and when are they going to go? Got it. And we got to get through Minnesota at 11 and Denver at 12, and whether or not any of them trade up. Arizona at 4. Do they stick with Harrison, or do they trade out? Does somebody make them an offer they can't refuse?
And now J.J. McCarthy, what's going on there? Quarterbacks taken in the first round is mind-boggling to me.
It is, but it also could be total crap. Total crap.
You mean like smokescreen? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, and hype from agents. Where are these NFL reporters getting this info from? Do you think they're getting it from people in NFL front offices, or they're getting it from agents? They're getting it from agents. The reporter, Schefter, is asking agents, who's interested in your client? And the agent will say, well, we've worked out. These are their 5 workouts. Okay. And we've talked to so-and-so and so-and-so. Well, who likes your client the most? And that's where they're getting their info from. And if they're getting any information from a front office, especially 3 weeks out, it's more likely to be a lie, because they want people to think a certain thing. So, that's why all this talk about the quarterbacks, there's a part of me that's like, listen, if you're hyping this guy up this hard 3-4 weeks out of the draft, my feeling is this is bunk.
But I have been hearing, I've been hearing Bo Nix in the first round for a while, like what Pat said, he's a quarterback that's ready to play. And if you have to have a quarterback that's ready to play, is Bo Nix a plug and play guy to come in? I don't want him on my team, David.
Well, and listen, we've had a whole bunch of quarterbacks taken in the top 15 of recent drafts who have stunk. So if somebody takes Bo Nix, you could go, well, hell, he's, as good as Christian Ponder, right? He's, could he work out any worse than Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, for that matter, Mac Jones? Honestly, I think some of those guys are better than Bo Nix, but I don't know that Bo Nix could work out worse than how most of those guys have already worked out. But you're right.
You're actually mentioning guys that play, unlike the Josh Rosens and, guys that really never even saw the field. So there are plenty of busts in the quarterback category, and there'll be more this year.
So I do think it'll be a fascinating draft. Very interesting. How many quarterbacks? Just if quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. If I'm the Patriots, you couldn't. If Robert Kraft ordered me to take a quarterback, I wouldn't do it. That's how bad that roster is. I don't care that they got
on offense.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Not this year, man. I'll draft one next year. I am not drafting one this year. I'm letting Jacoby Brissett get his butt kicked on a 4-13 team, and then I'll take somebody. I'll take Quinn Ewers next year or whatever.
So we are full steam ahead for the draft. That's a little more than 3 weeks away. So much so that we'll be back for our draft show. Miller and Moulton along the network. Have a great rest of your day. The Diamond District Bonus Hour in the 239 is next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
Mark
East.
Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I love how the Beasley Media name tags are just, it's a piece of copier paper, just like taped to the wall. for everyone's office. That interview with that women's basketball writer yesterday did well.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think she's pretty prominent with women's hoops.
Yeah, Sonny Gino's been in the Basketball Hall of Fame for a while. He's second most wins in basketball history, men's and women's, behind Vandermeer of Stanford by like 3 or something.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett to join us on the show tomorrow. And we're working on a couple of things. That's all I'll say for tomorrow. So I think we'll be able to preview. I know the women's Final Four. Carl Semesco and Nikki Collin will both join us near the end of the week. Semesco is going to be at the women's Final Four in Cleveland. And Nikki Collin, the Baylor coach, don't know if she's going to be or not, but she's agreed to come on the show.
Do they do their big meeting there as well? Like the men the male coaches all go to the Final Four because it's meeting time.
Yes, absolutely. Same deal.
In other words, trying to get a job somewhere else time.
That and just, networking, and don't laugh. Hey, you want to play this year? I got 3 spots on the schedule. You looking for games? A lot of that stuff happens at the Final Four. How many games are you looking for? Schedule's pretty set. Oh, okay. You need games? Yeah, I need games. Oh, okay.
You think there's
I'll
ever
pass the word.
coaches that aren't able to turn the page after they lose in the tournament and they don't want to go to the Final Four? Or do they all just say, screw it, we're all going?
A lot of them don't stay for the title game. I know on the men's side, like they'll get there Thursday, they'll do Friday. There's dinners and meetings and what have you, and then they'll stay for the semis, and then they're gone.
Yeah, you want good tickets for the final. Find a coach
who's got tickets for the weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, and even the staff. I mean, a lot of the networking is done. I mean, a lot of the assistants don't stay for the final either. And those tickets end up on the street.
It is on a Monday night.
Exactly.
For some preposterous reason.
And it will start at 9:20 on a Monday night, too.
And no earlier.
Yeah, I wonder if that gets changed. I mean, how much more evidence do we need that maybe 8:20 would be better? No?
Did the Oscars do significantly better, moving it up an hour?
Well, it did better.
That's an indicator.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of the 50 highest rated television shows every year.
And starting it an hour earlier did better. So I would think 8:20. I mean, over by 11. That's the other thing. These games are taking longer. You got more reviews. The commercial breaks are not short. These are not the 95, 100-second breaks during the regular season. These are a minimum 235. if not longer.
The under 16 timeout, the under 12 timeout, the under
Totally.
8 timeout, then all
Right.
the reviews at the last 2 minutes.
Well, and just all the reviews now, period. I mean,
it's so bad.
The college game has slowed down immensely to me because of the number of reviews they're doing on flagrant fouls or thinking about calling flagrant fouls. I guess intentional fouls if it's the women's game. The only thing I learned last night from the broadcast is that it's a intentional foul in the women's game, not a flagrant foul.
What I don't understand is, there is a fourth official at all these games, courtside, the alternate official. I don't understand why that official can't operate as kind of like eye in the sky in football. That official can look at plays, and then they call them over and go, hey, you guys may have just take a look at this and do it during breaks even.
Right,
Like
during, I think it was Duke, NC State. There was one of those plays at the end where it went off Jared McCain, or it looked like it did, but after looking at it one time, you can very clearly see they have an angle where it's very clearly off the NC State guy, and it still took them like 2 minutes over there.
Right, and I don't understand that. I mean, they're looking at the same replays we are. Literally, they're being fed the same replays by the truck. So if we can decide sitting on our couches in 13 seconds or less, why is it taking you 2.5 minutes?
Someone's got to get reservations for dinner during that time. I mean, there are many things that go on.
Well, and they say they got to get the clock right and stuff, but how long can that take, right? I mean, just when the ball hits out of bounds, that's sync it up.
It's so funny. I know you said that as a joke, but J. Webb Horton, who still does games for FGCU on ESPN Plus. I mean, if A, the game got out of hand, or B, we had a lot of delays like that, Jay Webb would be on his phone. And I literally would pass him notes. We doing Carrabba's tonight? Okay. I mean, seriously, he's making plans for after the game. Got to make use of this time. So, because the games are getting longer. The college basketball game used to be beginning to end 2 hours. Ooh, not anymore.
No, it's
2:15-ish.
Yeah, 2:15, 2:20.
2:20.
It would be my only complaint about, we've managed to figure out a way to get baseball moving a little more quickly. The NFL is what it is. They've got their time. It doesn't deviate from year to year. It doesn't really change at all. College football, they sped up college football. Some of you don't like that.
Right.
Some of you are fine with a 4-hour game. Just, it's my favorite sport. I don't care how long it lasts. Leave me alone. But college basketball's got a little college football going on to me right now, David. That would be my only complaint, because I think the tournament's been solid. I've liked the tournament. The women's tournament has been very good because Iowa's still winning, and that's the reason we're watching.
Do you think gambling is the reason for all these stoppages? How much of it do you think is because we got 40 states with legalized gambling now? Got all sorts of bets going on here. We got to make sure, we can't say this out loud, but we got to get this right.
But they aren't doing it to get every call right. They're doing it to get flagrant foul calls right. That's what they're stopping the game for half the time. They don't stop possession until the last 2 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not. The stoppages in the first 18 minutes of the half are all about flagrant fouls. I don't think that's a gambling thing. I think that's a NCAA mandate that they're trying to take that out of the game, and they take too long.
I mean, I think we're having so many stoppages that are taking so long. This is a prime sponsorship opportunity here. I mean, I don't know if it's
you stopped up? Metamucil.
Yeah.
It'll keep you going.
Totally. In fact, I think we can do multiple sponsors. I mean, you're the play-by-play guy. It's the same replays over and over and over again. And in the first set of replays, we've already made our determination as to what we think the call is. So
these replays becoming a pain in the you-know-what? Preparation H. Sponsor.
Exactly. Right. If you're stopped up like these three officials seem to be, Okay. Tums. Pepto-Bismol. Right. I mean, or it's to clean your pipes. What's the Drano? Okay. I mean, if you're stopped up like these officials seem to be, okay, use Drano. I think there's prime sponsorship opportunities here.
I mean, they have that for pitching changes in baseball and stuff like that. It's the wall side windows pitching change.
Yep. This call of the bullpen brought to you by AT&T. Yeah. We'll get something out of this.
What did I see? The NFL is talking about having a sponsor on the headsets, of selling the headsets to, a Verizon or something like that.
Yeah.
And how's that going to work in Dallas in AT&T Stadium?
Oh, well. Sorry, Jera.
So,
or does every team get to sell,
Well, that's what they do at the collegiate level. Right. Obviously, every team sells their own.
But yes, the NFL would have to be. I mean, it would be the NFL's thing.
Absolutely.
They're not.
Well, that was the war that Jerry had. Jimmy handled the football, and Jerry went to war with the league.
Yeah, Pepsi and Coke, right?
He started there, and he just went to the other brand. Whatever the NFL sponsor was, he went to the other one. They had Anheuser-Busch, he went Miller Lite. Coke, Pepsi, you name it. Jerry just went to the other guys, did the deals, and basically looked at the NFL and said, sue me. And he changed the business model. Completely changed it.
Well, I'm glad he's changed that, because nothing has changed for the Cowboys in the last decade with Dak Prescott.
I love the fact that they're really good. Looks like they're going to play this sucker out.
With Dak, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to Pat's point earlier about the Sean Payton thing, like what other is there an option out there that's a better option?
Well, there's an option
Prescott?
of signing Dak long term and having a huge ease on your cap for this year. I mean, the way they are playing this out with coach and quarterback is a little unprecedented.
And apparently
it is a for sure put up or shut up.
And with the way they've done his contract, apparently he's going to cost them money on next year's cap, whether he's on the team or not.
Correct.
Like $35 million, apparently. So, and people are wondering, well, are they really going to turn this over to Trey Lance next year? Oof. Oofda, as Vern would say.
What did they give up for Trey?
A fourth.
Just 1/4.
Mm-hmm. And you take a look now at what quarterbacks are going for. I mean, that's a clear overpay. I mean, what the Niners got for Trey Lance, I mean, what, Justin Fields got, a 6th?
Mac Jones got a 6th?
They got, Trey Lance started 2 games. Man, how many games Trey Lance start?
2. In one of them, he broke his leg, like in the first.
I mean, you got a 4th for him?
Yeah.
Versus guys who've been in the league 3 years? So
I think Fields' pick can go to a 4th if he plays a certain. I mean, that's a 6th that could be as high as a 4th.
Right? Is it 51% of the snaps?
Something like that.
Goes to a 4th. Yeah. By the way, is that a good thing? If he ends up playing 51% of the snaps this year, that means Russ didn't.
Either got hurt or sucked.
Exactly. Is that a good thing?
No,
I don't think it is.
It would not be good
in
for,
fact, I think Tomlin's record of 500 seasons would be in jeopardy if they're giving up a 4th round pick, if you know what I mean.
And it also wouldn't be good for the value of Mark's season tickets.
Oh, they're gold this year. That schedule's fantastic. Nothing to worry about there.
Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. It's all about 25 minutes away. Thanks for being with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I will say very oh yeah, Ed, the car carriers, I mean, I'm getting pictures from friends that post them. It's a wonderful thing.
You guys or something.
Buddy of mine's having a GTFU party.
Raise your glasses. What's the weather like today?
Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful here.
Oh, great.
Weather's lousy next couple days, though, here. So my mom lives about an hour southwest of where the Mets play. 80% chance of rain the entire day, temps in the mid-40s.
It would be miserable to even try to play in that.
fortunately, tomorrow, temperatures in the upper 40s with a 60% chance of rain. So,
So we got a chance tomorrow. Probably no chance tonight.
yeah, I doubt you're going to have Mets Tigers.
Should have no baseball in Chicago today. They're supposed to get pounded.
Actually, today, 85%. Tomorrow, 85%. Thursday, 60%.
Is that New York?
Yeah. So that's why. Is Thursday a travel day, off day? I mean, maybe they make up one of the games on Thursday after 2 days of rain.
The quality of the broadcast for the Tigers has been awesome with Benetti.
I got to tell you, you know what I thought was really bad was the quality of the hockey announcing. Don't know what you thought of that. Roxy Bernstein was doing one of the games and reminded me of how bad he was doing Florida Marlin games.
And don't criticize Mark. When he did them, they were the Florida Marlins. Okay.
They were.
Yes. So, of course, we had a joke. He was doing them with Dave Van Horn at the time, and there was absolutely no chemistry between the two. And we would do a bit in which we were like,
you and Casio.
They were. I'm telling you, they were in different rooms. That's how. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. So, the Miami women's job opened up 2 weeks ago yesterday, 2 weeks ago today. Longtime coach, 19 years, Katie Meyer, she retired. And anytime a job opens up, people wonder, hey, is Semesco going to get that job? They're going to be interested in him. And my take, and I know a little bit about Miami and how they operate there, is, Katie Meyer's not going to let that happen. I'm just telling you. She doesn't like him. Wouldn't schedule him. Katie wants one of hers, if you will. Somebody with Miami ties and connections. That's who Katie wants to replace her. And when Miami announced that, hey, she's going to, stick around, going to be involved. And sure enough, the original list, Mark, that came out as to who Miami was looking at, Jose Fernandez at South Florida. He's got longstanding ties to Miami, and he's done a very good job there. I mean, I turned on Jose when he stopped scheduling FGCU, but he's a good coach. All right. And then, Katie's had quite a few assistants come through that have gone elsewhere and done good things. And I figured, well, she's going to, want one of those to replace her. And sure enough, that was the original list, Mark, of 4 people, all with Miami/Katie Meyer connections. Well, it's been 2 weeks. And Jose in South Florida is the only one that publicly said, I'm going to stay here. And part of it is Jose's making almost $1 million a year. Been there 20 years, making like between 800 and 900,000, and has got a contract through the rest of the decade. Jose basically said, I'm good.
That's crazy money to be the women's basketball coach at South Florida. I'm sorry. That's crazy money.
Well, and the job security of
I'm just, hey, I get it. They've got to pay someone. So the program doesn't make money.
I don't think it does. No,
there's no way it does.
I get it. Okay. But I mean, he's done a good job.
Okay.
He goes to the tournament more times than he doesn't. He, for the longest time in the American, was the most serious challenger to UConn. It was basically a 2-bid league, UConn and the Bulls. And you know how it works. Hey, it comes time for a raise. And so they give him the $50,000 raise. And then it goes up what? 20, 25,000 a year. Well, if you're there 20 years, make a few NCAA tournaments, make one run, get one place that wants to hire you along the way, and they come in and go, oh, no, don't go. Don't go.
No, that's just a lot of student fees paying that money. That's all.
Yep. But yeah, I think Jose's salary is between 8 and 900.
Good for him.
So anyway, and I'm not following this. I'm not. I figure, whatever happens with Carl happens. And I thought, oh, he's got no shot. Katie Meyer, honestly, she'll stab someone in the neck before she lets Semesco replace her at Miami. Yeah, a guy who covers women's college basketball yesterday afternoon says sources familiar with the Miami search say FGCU's Carl Semesco emerging as the top candidate.
What would FGCU do?
Mitchell Northam is his name. Is who tweeted that out.
I mean, there is no program at FGCU that comes close to having the success. I mean, all the programs at FGCU combined don't have the success of the women's basketball program.
Now, he covers the ACC. I think he's based out of North Carolina, Mitchell. He's a AP top 25 voter. He's part of the, Women's Sports Writers Association. I've never talked to him. Don't know his sources. But I do find it interesting. It's been 2 weeks. That is an ACC job, a year removed from being in the Elite Eight. It's not like, it's not like you have trouble people saying yes to that job, if you know what I mean, Mark. I mean, I know some of the former Katie Meyer assistants that were on the list. If they got offered that job, they would have said yes before the offer was coming out of the AD's mouth.
Could they be lowballing for what they're paying? It is Miami. It's not a cheap place.
I know. It all comes into play. It's one of the big reasons why Carl Semesco didn't go to USC 7 years ago. USC lowballed him. Not only for him, but the amount of money they were offering his staff. He's like, we can't live and work out here on this.
So that could be a part of it.
Yeah. But, it's been 2 weeks. It's kind of like, it took Oklahoma State a very long time to replace Mike Boynton. Well, that on the men's side, there's people actually going, nah, we're good. Not interested. What? All of a sudden, Oklahoma State's become a bad Big 12 job? Gallagher, Iba, Arena? Really? Okay. But, if that's the case, don't know if it's true, but it was thrown out there yesterday by somebody who covers the league, and it's been very quiet.
Would love to see Carl get the opportunity somewhere where he could compete at the highest level. Would be great. It would gut FGCU.
In what way?
They never have that again. Whoever's coming in is not going to be able to do what he did. He's that good of a coach. To put up that many years of that much dominance, it would go away.
14 ASUN titles, 11 ASUN tournament titles, 13-time ASUN Coach of the Year.
You don't just remove that and keep that program. You don't just keep on keeping on.
I watched him take a team that was in transition from D2 to D1, and they were a really good D2 team. They were in transition. They had a couple of players who were, small-time D1 players, but they weren't quite where they were going to get yet. And he went to Miami in the NIT. They had a first-team all-conference post and a second-team all-conference point guard. And he ran them into the ground for a half of basketball. He ran the same play off of 4 different sets okay, and had an 8-point lead at the half. And if you were picking players in shorts and T-shirts, there's no way you would have picked any of the FGCU players before you would have picked 8 Miami players. And I just remember, and that was Katie Meyer. Okay, and I just remember thinking, my goodness, if he ever got the Jimmies and the Joes, look out. It is the one thing, though. What is the one area
Would
where
it be the Jenny and the Joes for him?
it'd be the Jenny and the Jills, right?
Jenny and the Jills. I mean,
Jills.
there's a JoJo that plays on Maddie's softball team.
Okay.
So,
You know the Joes, you just drop the E.
Right.
It's just J-O.
There you
That's
go.
True. Okay. Could be the Jennies and the Joes. We want to throw Jill in. Sure. Let's give her some love. But you have to admit, the one area where FGCU has faltered is financially. And now that big-time college athletics is all about money, and the new AD that they're bringing in is what?
All about money.
So in theory, the next step, FGCU is not like Gonzaga on the women's side in this year's tournament was a 4 seed. Best FGCU's ever been to the tournament's a 7. And that's the only time they were not 11 or is it higher or lower?
Lower.
11 or lower. But if this guy's going to bring in the money that we know is in the 239, in theory, he could get the Jennies and the Joes in the 239, right?
100%. But wouldn't the coach is everything in that sport? You lose the coach, do you lose the sport? That's my big concern for them.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, Mark, all our tax and paperwork information has been sent.
Nice.
To the state and to the feds and what have you. So we're taken care of.
Oh,
I know it was a worry.
we should probably each write ourselves a check out of that account.
Well, first off, what all the renewal expenses are. So, deduct that off.
Right.
And then we're left with, and we have to keep 5.
Right. Have to keep 5. And I thought if we took 5 each, we'd
Okay.
still have enough for anything.
Okay. Gator Dad, I thought because they went after, who's the coach of the Las Vegas Aces?
Oh,
Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond. They went after Becky Hammond hard, and she thought long about it and turned it down and stayed with the Spurs. And they then opened it up, and the people they brought in, I was like, are you serious? They didn't even call Semesco. It was stunning. Load those suckers up and let me make my tea times. Ryan, we've talked about this before. The number one thing that Carl has to get by is the gender. Okay? There's a lot of schools that feel the pressure. This is the most high-profile women's sport in their building, and they feel the pressure to have a woman leading it. I mean, Muffin McGraw, who used to be at Notre Dame, Vandermeer at Stanford, they both really like Carl. They talk him up in the past, and yet they both are strong advocates for, you need to hire women to lead women. What are we doing? I mean, it's another reason why in the sport, they hate Gino.
Even though Gino's the second greatest women's coach ever? Best?
Might argue the best.
Yeah.
Samuel, Joel, I think location. Carl, I don't know if he's married or not, but he's been with Elena like 12 years. So whether they are legally married or not, I mean, and so they make these decisions as a couple.
Gino has 11 championships and 23 Final Fours.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Summit has 8 and 18.
Would have been very interesting how Pat would have handled this NIL world and this transfer world.
What would be great is for this new AD to come in, give him a big raise, and say, "I've got NIL money." That's what would be great.
And I don't think Carl needs more money, but the program does. The programs do. I mean, everybody would want more money, but I don't think he needs it.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. If you missed any part of the show, that's where you go. Download what you missed, like our interviews today with David Samson and Pat Kirwan. Like we'll have Seth Everett on tomorrow. millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
A lot of stuff today, mostly sports. But we start in 1513 when Ponce de Leon claims Florida for Spain. Believe
Yeah.
European to see Florida.
Yeah.
Today in 1877, Rosa Matilda Richter, at 14, becomes the first human cannonball.
Wait. When?
1877.
Wow. Think about trying to talk somebody into that 150 years ago.
Child labor laws and all. 14-year-old. Let's just stuff her in the cannon.
Wait, you want me to do what? Yeah, climb on in there. Hold on, we're going to light the fuse.
In 1917, President Wilson asked Congress to declare war against Germany. 1932, Tarzan the Ape Man premieres. First of 12 films featuring Johnny Westmuller as Tarzan.
Seriously? There were 12 of them?
That's what I got.
And we complain about all the sequels today?
Maybe Rocky IV was iconic.
No, it was not.
Spies can change, news can change, and we all can change. Today in 1976, the A's traded Reggie to Baltimore.
Couldn't afford him. It's the year that nobody remembers. He played a year for the Orioles in between the A's and the Yankees.
Today in 1977, Fleetwood Mac's Rumors goes number one. It would stay there for 31 weeks. Today in 78, Dallas premieres as a 5-week miniseries. The ratings were so good, it continued on as a series.
Well, Seinfeld didn't have a full season of episodes till like year 3, I think. It was like a replacement show twice.
Is this the Who Shot JR
show? Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Way to pay attention. Wayne becomes the youngest to get to 50 goals today in 1980.
How many games? Like 39 or something?
Yeah.
Does it say?
That was his rookie year. I think it took him a little longer to get to 50 his rookie year in the NHL. 85, the NCAA adopts a 45-second shot clock to eliminate stalling. The next year, they would adopt the three-point line. Think about that. In 2 years, they revolutionized the sport in 2 years' time.
ACC very much responsible for the three-point line because when NC State made it to the NCAA tournament in 83 and eventually won it, they won the ACC tournament taking advantage of the three-point line. It's why people thought, well, they're not going to have the same success in the NCAA tournament because there's no three-point line.
And ironically, Lou Wittenberg, that shot, that was a three-pointer, right? Or it wasn't, but it would have been.
Right, Derek Wittenberg, sorry. Yeah. And he was way off. Right. He jokes that was a pass. And he does laugh about it. Okay. And he'll have fun. He tongue in cheek. Remember, Mark? Okay, when we were in Macon, he was doing the ASUN final. He was next to us, and we both at different times said, hell of a pass. He goes, pretty good, wasn't it?
Today in 1990, UNLV pounded Duke 103-73.
Brent Musburger's last assignment with CBS. He announced at the end of the game that his contract had expired, and he was leaving.
Two things happened today in 95. UConn win their first title, and it's the first undefeated season since Texas did it in 1986. And the baseball strike ended after 232 days.
Yeah, that worked well.
Yeah.
Shut down the rest of the season. No playoffs, no World Series. And then don't even start the next season on time. Yeah.
Duke's third title today in 01. They beat Arizona. The Gators go back-to-back in 07, beating Ohio State. Kentucky beat Kansas in 2012. And Nova pounded Michigan in 2018. And it was a year ago that LSU beat Iowa for the national title in the women's game. Marvin Gaye and Don Sutton both would have celebrated birthdays today. Emmylou Harris is 77. Danny Ford is 76. Bill Romanowski is 58. And the very talented Zach Bryan is 28 years old today.
Happy birthday, ZB.
Fired up to go see him in July.
He's phenomenal. I haven't seen him live, but it's on the bucket list.
Does he go by ZB? Or is that just a trend
it's just
thing?
like this. He doesn't go by it, but that's his.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering. I mean, some people
Alonso joined him on stage the other night and sang a song with him, David.
Yeah, I know. Pete Alonso of the Mets.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I just didn't know if they, it's kind of like, in the NBA, everybody, LBJ, SGA,
Yeah.
KD, I just didn't know if this was a thing.
Yeah, it's like that. It's the equivalent of that you just laid out. That was perfect.
What did I miss, David?
Gotti finally got convicted today in 92. The Teflon Don was no more.
And he went down for everything, like 5 murders, conspiracy for a bunch more, racketeering. I mean, they finally got him on everything.
Well, they got his right-hand guy, Sammy the Bull, to go up on the stand and go, I did it all.
Yeah, I killed this guy for him. I killed this guy for him.
All right, let me tell you, I killed like 23 people myself. Who do you think told me to do it? That guy right over there. By the way, I'm going to move to Arizona. About 10 years in, okay, I'm going to go back to being Sammy the Bull. The hell with this witness protection thing. It's boring.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Texas for the good, specifically Kyle, Texas. Because Kyle, Texas announced it is making another attempt at breaking the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest same-name gathering with an official, the Gathering of the Kyles. Last year, they attracted 1,490 people. The current record for first-name gatherings was set in July of 2017 when 2,325 people named Ivan attended the record attempt in Bosnia. So if you're a Kyle, May 18th, 1 p.m. at the Kyle Fair in Kyle, Texas, that's for you. I know of at least one Kyle that's listening to this show.
That's not like being a Karen, right?
No.
Okay.
Nothing really bad associated with being a Kyle.
I just want to make sure.
For the bad, we go to Virginia, where a portion of a Virginia highway was shut down on Monday when a 3-vehicle crash resulted in cattle escaping into the roadway. The tractor trailer was involved in the crash around noontime, and several cows escaped to the roadway, causing traffic to back up for more than 9 miles. Finally, the ugly. We go to Fort Myers Beach, specifically the Lovers Key boat ramp, where Steven Speak was cut off by another driver when leaving the boat ramp. He didn't react well. Got into an argument. Then he rammed his truck into the other driver's boat trailer. That victim left the scene, thinking the situation would escalate, but Speak wasn't done. He chased the victim down. The victim pulled over near New Pass and called 911. Speak got out of his car, or out of his truck, and started punching the other truck. Why would you punch a truck?
I don't know.
It's like when NFL players throw punches at the helmet. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to break your hand.
Police finally showed up and Steven Speak was arrested and charged with battery and burglary and causing more than $1,000 worth of damage. He's an idiot. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 2nd, 2024.
Well, no college hoop tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, okay? Everybody get that in your system. Unless you're going to go find an NIT game somewhere. I mean, then take it easy now. All right, but we got 9 games in the NBA. The Heat hosting the Knicks. This could be a first-round playoff series. Although the Knicks, with 3 starters out with injuries, and they're not getting any of them back anytime soon. So, I'll tell you what, the East is falling apart around the Celtics. And it really is. Milwaukee doesn't really have their act together. Cleveland's had a bunch of injuries. They've lost like 8 of 12. The Knicks have a bunch of injuries. The team they have now, lucky to win 1 series, they can't do anymore. Orlando doesn't look ready for prime time. Pacers aren't ready for prime time. Could this come down to the Heat and the Sixers?
Well, Embiid may come back tonight.
Exactly. Exactly.
The East may be falling apart, but the one guy who can put it all back together returns to the lineup tonight.
Could the Heat and or Sixers be the first round opponent for the Celtics, and may that be their toughest opponent until the finals? So Heat hosting the Knicks tonight, but the TNT double dip. The rumor is Embiid is playing tonight for the Sixers against OKC, and then the late game is Dallas and Golden State. Warriors with a 2-game lead on the Rockets for the final play-in spot. Panthers need a win tonight. They're 2 points behind the Bruins, and they've caught up in games. And they're in Montreal while the Bruins are in Nashville. Florida needs a win tonight. Just saying.
No, you're absolutely right.
8
3,
games in the
6, and
NHL.
1 in their last 9 are the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, I ain't going to get it done. Just so you know, they went from best record in the league to 4th best record in the East in like 2 weeks. So, obviously, a whole bunch of baseball. Weather's going to be a factor in certain parts of the country. I don't think the Tigers and the Mets are going to play. I don't even know if they're going to play for the next 2 days. The weather's pretty bad in the Northeast. And Phillies are home for the Reds. That one's supposed to be on TBS. I don't know how that game gets played either. Rays are home for Texas. Marlins still looking for their first win of the year. 0-5 hosting the Angels at 640. So, Giants and Dodgers, the second game of the doubleheader on TBS. Be curious what game they're going to show if Reds and Phillies are postponed. I mean, little Royals, Orioles, maybe at 640. Little Rangers, Rays.
Maybe Angels, Marlins.
Maybe Angels, Marlins, for that matter. So,
never a bad time to put Mr. Trout on television.
Hit 2 homers last night. It's off to a good start.
But Rays Rangers wouldn't be a bad one to put on there either.
No. I mean, they are the defending World Series champions, right? But just saying.
If you're watching the bottom of the playoffs, a bunch of, the Devils play tonight. They still have an outside shot. Not much of one. The Islanders still trying to make the playoffs. They play at home tonight. Big game. Caps with a big game tonight as well, as the Flyers and Detroit both have the night off.
Flyers, Caps, and Wings. 3 teams for 2 spots, separated by a point as we head to the final 2 weeks of the season.
I believe Phillies played 2 more games than Detroit, 2 more games than Washington, 1 more game than Detroit.
Correct. Mark, that bet, what was it, a month or so ago? You bet the Flyers would miss the playoffs?
Holding on.
Got a chance. I'll tell you what, though, that goal they scored with 10 seconds to go in regulation last night, it was not good for you. So there you go. That's what's going on tonight.
Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com where you can download it. Trent has it up lickety-split after each hour.
We try. We do our best over here. There is an interesting boost on the Hard Rock app tonight.
Uh-oh.
To fill you in.
Haven't heard that in a while.
I'm going to tell you the odds first. It's plus 750. It's for the Miami Heat to score the most points in each quarter against the Knicks. It's a long shot. If they win every quarter, plus 750. Sprinkle on it. If that's your thing.
Do you bet the boost every night?
No, not every, because sometimes I don't like the boost. Like, the boost doesn't speak to me. If it's like some hockey boost that I'm not too familiar with what's going on, then I don't mess with the boost. But the basketball ones are pretty hard to stay away from.
Gotcha.
Wow. You with money could be scary, Trent.
I know. Mark, we have a mutual friend who's kind of fallen in love with this Hard Rock app. Okay. I got a text from him a couple days ago that said, yeah, the Commanders' A's scoring less than 8 runs the other night killed me. Really? Miller and Moulton. See you tomorrow.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the